Hello there, and welcome back to another Thursday night. Reconnected here, and it's been a weird week. We got some random things to talk about that Zach and I did not prepare Zach, so I'm sorry, but they are things that you'll be able to speak to, I promise. Um, it's been not that long. I think you were last on in like February or March, and I checked today. Other than Will, I think you might be the most returned guest. Today is your 11th time
Has it
on
really been
Reconnected.
11? Wow. I would say, I'll go try to fight Will for it, but I think he's about like 200 ahead of me at this point. So,
I mean, considering he's got a regular seat every month, that's going to be difficult to pass up. But how you doing? Welcome back.
not too shabby, not too shabby. Enjoying the summer. How about yourself?
I hate the summer, so trying to make the best of it. I'm a fat man that hates humidity, and it's miserable just to walk to the car.
I want to like. I know we talked about you coming here for like during the summer, like during a summer at some point.
Yep.
You're gonna be miserable. You're gonna
Yes.
fucking hate it
Yes, I am.
so much.
Yeah, it's I won't claim to know what it feels like there, but even moving here from the desert, which super dry and it's great and super hot, I came here and wanted to jump in front of a train. I got to be honest. It was really bad here. I was not super happy with it. But I've gotten kind of used to it, and I love the winter. So hey, it's worth it.
Remind me, where did you live at before?
The high desert in California,
Okay.
so about an hour and a half north of Los Angeles.
I was thinking maybe you were talking about Phoenix. I did visit Phoenix. I've never been to LA. And why would you put a city like what is it, like the sixth largest city in
Yeah,
America in the middle
yeah.
of a desert? And before I drove out there, I was just thinking, I know I drove through New Mexico and I was like, oh, okay, this is what Arizona is going to be like too. And then as soon as you hit the Arizona border, I hit Tonto, which is a forest. I'm
Yep.
like, why is the city in the desert?
Yeah, Phoenix is very hot, and it's essentially the same desert as where I grew up. It's just a very large desert. And
Yeah.
Phoenix is like a 5-hour drive from where I lived, so
Okay.
maybe a little more,
Yeah, when I
maybe
did my
less.
road trip, I ended up turning up to go to like Utah.
Mm,
Utah and Nevada and all that. And then I hit Northern California, like Willows Creek, and that's
smart, yeah.
yeah. I
You went
was like,
around all the shitty stuff.
yeah. Willows. I wanted, and it's the only thing that was sad. It was in the middle of COVID because that's the reason we did the trip because we couldn't go anywhere else. And
Yeah.
I was like, I just really want to see the Bigfoot stuff, and all of it was closed. I was like, no,
Oh,
I
that
wanted,
sucks.
I wanted to eat the weird foot-shaped cheeseburger. It's like half the reason I drove out there.
I want a foot-shaped cheeseburger.
Have you ever seen the movie Willow Creek?
Uh,
Bearcat did.
I think so, like, right when it came out, so it's been God, that was what, 2012?
14, yeah, somewhere around
Okay,
there. Yeah. They go through all that. So it was actually kind of cool to go over there. I was like, oh, I've seen all this stuff in that movie. So that's
yeah.
neat.
That's great. Yeah, it's been a long time. That's yeah, I need to rewatch that one. That was fun.
Yeah, I really like that one. I give a lot of credit to any director who says, I'm gonna set a camera up for like 27 minutes
Yep.
and I'm gonna keep it interesting. Like I really have always liked that movie just for that scene.
Hilton is in Phoenix. He says only
Jesus
118 degrees
Christ.
here in Phoenix yesterday.
And I say this to someone from the East Coast. There's always that thing of like the joke of it's the humidity kind of thing. It's not real heat. Once you get to like 110, it doesn't matter where you're at. It just
Yeah.
sucks.
Although if it was 110 and like 80% humidity, that's the dangerous kind of weather that
Oh yeah,
people are literally going to die from.
yeah. Like East Coasters just get like sun poisoning when they go out to like LA and stuff. Like, because it's not, you just have to go
Yep.
like sit inside.
Yep. So checking in, how's They Live by Film? What's been happening?
We've been doing good. We just finished recording, and I think it's uploaded our final episode for the Mission Impossible series. So this was pretty much all first times for me and Chris. Adam was very happy.
Yep.
So that's pretty much been our big project as far as that goes, is just getting through all those. And it was kind of a big change because last summer, for people who listen to our show might remember, we did Fast and Furious, and they reminded me a lot of each other in a way, but also Mission Impossible is just way more competent, like at
Can I
everything it does.
can I frustrate you? I want to listen to the whole series. I've literally only seen one of the movies.
That's fine. When I started, I had only seen the first one just because it was a Brian De Palma film. Like I
Yep.
really had no interest in it.
That why I have that one.
I was like, I watched, and honestly, I like it. I think a lot of the ones are better. Like the ones that come later are better. Um, we kind of gave an example in the last one. Not to spoil too much, but we all agreed the very last movie, the writing's absolute dog shit. But it doesn't
Yeah.
matter because everything around it's really well done. So you're like, I don't watch Mission. I mean, the Mission Impossible, every plot's the same. Ethan Hunt needs to go rogue to stop bad thing from happening, and it's every movie, and I'm cool with
Yeah.
that. Let me Cruise do some crazy shit for a while.
I've heard they're great. I just need to get into it for sure.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think it starts rough. I think that's kind of the hard part.
yeah, yeah, especially when such different directors for those first three.
Mhm. Yeah, I ended up liking the because the first four it's De Palma, Wu, and then three is Abrams, and then four is Brad Bird.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're all drastically different.
Well, you watch a bunch of stuff, so we're going to be talking about
Ooh,
that in just a
okay.
minute. Recent pickups. Let's do that first. What have you been picking up?
Oh, okay, I got a stack of stuff because I couldn't remember everything I got. So I know we have somebody. I think it's Zach, the one in the Discord, who's also a media
Yes.
book collector. So I just recently got the Solomon Kane one.
Oh,
Um,
I have not seen that. That's
yeah,
crazy cool.
yeah, they got three variations of it, and the only thing I wish is it came with a CD. It's one of my favorite soundtracks from any movie like ever. It's probably in like my top 10.
Yeah.
So and you can't find it anywhere. So that's great. But yeah, I've been into that. And a lot of my purchases have been going into Conan stuff. I've been buying the comics and things like that. So I have a little bit smaller of a stack than I probably normally
Nice.
have. Steelbooks, a lot of these are going to be steelbooks. So got the monkey.
Ooh,
This one
that's
I got.
the UK one?
Yeah. So grab that. Just to keep the Perkins run going. Got the long legs one.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, just got to get all those. I still got to get that bootleg of that really long titled Netflix one he has. I really need to grab that.
Oh, yeah.
But last steelbook is Fallout.
Oh,
Excellent
I
show.
still need to see that. Yeah.
Are you a fan of the games?
I never played them. I mean, I tinkered with Fallout 3 for like 10 minutes on somebody else's system.
That's fair.
I've never given a ton of time to them just because it came like right after I got into everything else that I was doing, and so I
Right.
just missed it.
I will say I think it's a good entry point for like somebody if you don't, I mean it if you know stuff about the games, there's a lot of like Easter eggs and stuff, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah.
Like the very end, you might be like, "Oh, why is it ending like this?" And it's like, yeah, that'd probably be about the only thing. But beyond that, let's see. Last stop at Yuma County, which I think Arrows has a sale now, so this is probably cheaper than when I picked it up.
Incredible movie. Shout
Yeah,
out to my friend Fran who directed that.
yeah, fantastic movie. One of my favorites movies ever. Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia.
Nice.
I'm planning on watching the 4K. I hear it looks great. I don't know why Shout didn't give it a fucking slipcover like they did everything else.
He's too much of an indie director. We can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that for Peck and Paw. And ended on a couple westerns. I got these arrows for a few dollars more, and fistful of dollars. And I am patiently waiting for the good and the bad and the ugly, which will be here someday. I hope.
Offers in the chat for buying those from you.
Oh, who is?
You're going to start getting offers. Watch.
Hey, my cat needs a shave, so maybe if we're mad.
I hope that wasn't a euphemism.
No, he's a long-haired cat, and it's so sad. Like it's really sad. It makes me feel bad. So we got to shave him. First time he's ever been shaved. He's gonna hate me for about a week.
Oh. So my stuff real quick. I got a couple weird things. First, I don't normally like show out clothing, but everybody's commenting on this tonight. Trans flag with "Fix Your Hearts or Die" quote from David Lynch. Everybody's saying where to get that. Go to fridacinema.com, fridacinema.com, and click on shop at the top. It's the Frida Cinema. Dang, I got the entire thing wrong. Let's start over. Erase that. thefridacinema.org. I'm sorry. thefridacinema.org, and then click on shop at the top. And they've got that. And then the other thing, I don't remember. I don't think it was free shipping, but I just like, hey, I may as well get something else while I'm here since I'm paying for shipping. I got this house pin, a Hello Kitty Houseu pin that I think is hilarious. And considering Sam is the one that designed the house poster, I wanted to get it. Seemed right. Some stuff in the mail over the last couple days. This just came to my house today. It was delivered to the wrong house. Thankfully, they brought it over. Oscilloscope subscription. They released Flipside. This is a filmmaker Chris Wilcha revisits the record store he worked in as a teenager in New Jersey, and it's a big discussion of stuff I love seeing in films, so I'm very eager to see this. We do not talk about Second Run Cinema enough. They're over in the UK. Their stuff is usually very cheap, and pretty much everything is region free. So I picked up this recent release of Ishanu from Second Run. One of the reasons is Ahmed, who was on the channel recently talking about the Cloud Door. He's the one that did the booklet essay on this one, so I wanted to check that out. And the movie is supposedly incredible. So I go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this might surprise you. That might be like top 5 of the sections on Orbit DVD that I click on the most because
Nice.
I meant to hit second sight.
I never mind. Oh, that is so Zach. That is so funny. Oh, that is hilarious. I love it. Next thing, I've been really into Jackie Chan over the last couple months, and thankfully we are seeing all kinds of incredible releases of his films. To Kill with Intrigue is a movie that I did not have, I don't think. So they just did this, and it's a 4K. Well, I got rid of some of my old Jackie Chan releases.
Oh, fair. Okay, I was just like,
these started coming out. So now I got it in 4K. And then you were mentioning Steelbooks. I got one to show off, which this is one of my favorite movies of all time. And let me take off this little crappy J card that they put on there. I don't know. Obviously this is like a classic. A lot of people love this movie. I don't know how many people are in the chat are going to be like, why did you do this? But I had to get the deluxe edition of Clueless.
Awesome.
I think this is one of the greatest movies of all time. And on the inside, it's got the same steelbook that they've been rocking for a while. I just knocked the disc loose, of course, because the spindle was not perfect. But on the inside, it's got all of the pictures from the film. And then inside this little box that they did, you've got this, which has all kinds of stuff. This was ready to go earlier. All kinds of stuff in here. So we've got art cards, a Polaroid, a magnet, stickers. Like, there is so much in here, and Clueless is literally one of my favorite movies of all time. So had to do it. There's even a little folded poster. I am shocked that they put this much love into a studio release, and I want to see them do more of that. So I said,
Sony?
This is Paramount.
Paramount, okay.
I believe. Yeah, Paramount. Yeah, Sony. I don't think Sony would do all that, unfortunately. Yeah. Not for Clueless. So yeah, that is my pickups. You watch a lot of stuff. What have you been hanging out with lately?
Ooh, let's see. Anthony knows because me and him have been chatting. I just recently went through all the Stepfather films, which I feel like would be more of a discussion later. But those were actually a lot more fun. I've seen the first one. I saw it years and years and years ago, probably with my mom. Because I remember the what was that case from? They had it on TV. I remember it wasn't Unsolved Mysteries. I think it was. I'll remember it later. But yeah, that's how the actual guy got caught and everything.
Right.
But yeah, I've been watching those. First one was really great, of course. Second one was surprisingly really good. It's good they had Terry O'Quinn to come back. And then the third one gets into the TV movie thing, and it changes the actor, and it's fine. It grows on me as it goes, but it definitely was a downgrade from having Terry O'Quinn in the first two, and then dropping it down. I mean, they could at least picked another lost actor if they were going to recast. Make me excited to watch it. Let's see. Beyond that, what else have I been watching? Now I have to look. I watched The Patriot for 4th of July because I
saw that.
Yeah. Gotta watch The Patriot. I ended up watching. I found out about it recently from Crit, who's been on here before. For anyone who's confused about who I'm talking about, he showed that Army of One, a Nicolas Cage movie, had a director's cut on YouTube that was just uploaded for free by the director. And so I decided to watch it. I had never seen the theatrical, and I'd never heard anything good about it. The whole movie where he's playing the guy who like snuck into Pakistan, maybe. Yeah, I think it's Pakistan, to try to assassinate Osama bin Laden and was caught, because God told him to. I ended up watching like the director's like the theatrical movie is like an hour and a half, and the director's cut is 2 hours and like 40 minutes. So it's like a whole other hour. And I'm really confused watching it. And it makes me kind of curious to go back to the director's cut, the theatrical cut of how they turn that movie into kind of a irreverent comedy, because it's actually kind of sad. Like you watch it, like, yeah, it's funny because Nick Cage doing Nick Cage things, but then like there's this like underlying sadness throughout, and I'm like, this is just kind of a bummer in a weird way. Like, so I'd recommend that. It sucks that the only way to watch it's like a 360p YouTube video that's compressed terribly, but it's one way to watch
not at all.
Yeah, it's apparently the director couldn't make money off of it, so it's not monetized either, so no ads or anything. And then the only thing else I guess I got into was got onto a small Tony Scott run, watched Crimson Tide, Days of Thunder, Enemy of the State, Spy Games, and The Hunger. So I'm almost done watching everything Tony Scott's ever made at this point. I got like 4 movies left, and one of them's Top Gun. So saving Top Gun for last.
Well, purposefully, there's one movie that I really wanted to know what you personally thought, and I did not check your Letterboxd. I've been staying away from any of the reviews that you posted. I've like clicked on the review to read that review, but not gone to the profile to see what else you've been watching.
Okay.
I want to hear what you thought of Life of Chuck.
I haven't seen it.
No.
Yeah, I wanted to, man. Like something was going on that week. I wish I could remember what it was. I think my schedule had just changed for work, and I never could make it out to the theater to see it, unfortunately.
Damn.
Yeah, no one's more disappointed than me. I could not make it. And then I think my theater only kept it for a week.
Oh,
I swear I went to the next week, and maybe they had like a 10:30 showing.
Right.
But where I'm 45 minutes away from the theater, I was like, I can't get out of the theater at like nearly 1 o'clock and then drive 45 minutes home. Like, I'm too old. I can't do it anymore.
That I don't understand. Like, it has not done well at the box office, and it is a revelatory film. Like,
I guarantee it.
Everybody should have seen, and for some reason, it is just languishing, and hopefully gets a second life on streaming or something. Because, God, do people need to see this movie?
And I wonder if some of that is just because Dr. Sleep bombed at the box office as well. I mean, Flanagan's one of those guys who does so well on television and does so well on streaming that it's kind of disappointing that, he's only had, I guess now 3 theatrical runs in like 10 years. Like, and Oculus did okay. Let's say, what was the last one? Maybe a Ouija?
Yeah.
That might be the last one before Dr. Sleep. I think he did mostly TV and streaming after that.
Yeah.
So
that's what happens when you are stuck in the Netflix machine, unfortunately.
Now the Amazon machine.
It's God. I just hope he gets some sort of freedom to be able to do all of that other stuff. He needs, I don't know, like Life of Chuck is so different from everything he's been doing. It just felt fresh. Like, we didn't have to focus on the horror aspect for the entire movie because it's such a different style, and he's got that expectation, of course, to have just this ongoing dread that he's got in everything that he does. So it was nice to see him, I don't know, spread his wings a little bit, do something very, very different.
Yeah, and from what I've kind of seen, and I've read the short story when Let It Bleed came out, which may have been like 10 years ago now. So I remember really liking that story, and I thought it's more sci-fi than anything. Yeah. But yeah, with that one, it almost reminds me of like it'd be something like Before I Wake, which I also think kind of unfortunately got shafted. I think that was one that was supposed to hit theaters, and it took like 2.5 years to ever release because the studio that made it shut down, and then it got shelved by another studio, and then they just said it's Netflix, just throw it on there, it's fine.
That's true. Yeah. And then, of course, as Sivner's saying, if it bleeds, it leads. I mean, yeah, there's no, I don't know, there's no catch. It's just a philosophical piece for a lot of people, and it's not like that's selling well in the theater in 2025.
No, I mean, it's, the one thing that's kind of interesting to see, because I remember, 2019 hasn't been that long ago, but I remember you could pretty much throw anything out in like 2019 and it would sell. And
he was saying If It Bleeds is the title.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Whoops. I definitely did not do that right.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I see now. Yeah, I couldn't remember right off the top of my head. I was trying to look at my bookshelf. I was like, I know it's over there somewhere.
My bad. Carry on. I did not mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. I was
2019.
Yeah, and I think now like movies can be successful, but I think audiences are just pickier. Like I think that's just reality. They're just not going to go for anything. And we've seen that a lot. Like movies either are pretty successful or they're just bombing.
Well, that, and I mean, the reality is, it just so many people are not going to the theater nowadays. I hate to like keep ringing that bell, but I mean, when movies are literally costing, on a nighttime, like parents are out of work because everybody has to work nowadays, and all that. There are so many people that are needing to go at 7 o'clock at night, and so you're charging, upwards of $20 just for the ticket, and then to get any sort of snack, now it's another $10 plus drinks. I don't know.
There's a $10. I was like, I think I bought a small drink the other day because I didn't want to use my points, and it cost me $9. Like,
oh Jesus.
Yeah, and I mean, I noticed one thing I have noticed going to I go to Regal, so a lot of them are using the passes now. That's what I have. I have a pass for Regal. Even people who know nothing about it are sitting there buying it because it really is I don't know. I feel like that's just really the future of cinema is you're gonna get a subscription. Yeah, which is good, I guess, in a way, but I don't know how that's going to do long term because I already know studios don't make as much off a subscription ticket. Yeah. Like I think it halves like what they usually get out of everything else. So,
yeah, it's a lot. It's certainly a lot to consider. And then I mean, I still don't even know on the back end how they're dividing all of that income up to say, hey, this movie made however X dollars. Not that matters or anything, but the sad thing is decisions are made based on that.
Yeah.
And if a third of the people that go to see the movie are on AMC A-list and the Regal Pass, how does that work on the back end? I'd love to know.
Yeah, this is the closest I had when I was when I worked at a movie theater was Movie Pass. And Movie Pass was just one of those things where everyone knew it was going to be a colossal failure, but we're going to ride it out until it is. Yeah. Like, and now every studio is like, Movie Pass had a good idea, but you guys just did it really wrong. So I don't know as far as it goes on that end. And I think a big problem with studios is always going to be a patience thing. Like I was talking about it with somebody the other day, and this is more on television, but HBO just canceled their J.J. Abrams show Duster after a season. I don't know the quality of the show. I haven't watched it, but I think a lot about like Breaking Bad and that kind of era where AMC and Sony really knew they had something good for several seasons. And they said, we're just going to ride it out because the people are going to find this show. And they were right. Ended up on Netflix and the show blew up to be one of the biggest things on television at the time. And I feel like that kind of bleeds over to movies too, where, and that could just be not having the movie store anymore. I think Matt Damon's talked about it a lot. He's like, if you didn't make it in theater, we'll make it in the video store.
Not anymore.
No, you dump it on streaming, and who knows how studios decide what's successful on streaming. I mean, I think about Netflix and Santa Clara Diet, where they even admitted they didn't lose viewership. It just wasn't gaining subscribers.
Yep.
And it's like, what is that? Like you're
obviously it's the Ricky Bobby way of doing things. If you're not first, you're last, which makes no sense. Like we can't always be increasing viewers.
No, I mean, like Disney making the money they did in like 2019 and then just watching that drastic fall off in now 2025 is like weirdly impressive to watch. Yeah. I mean, they couldn't do any wrong for like a few years there. Anything they put out made $1 billion.
True. I don't know if you saw this comment from Corinne. Corinne says, Zachary, Bigfoot Burger is about an hour from my house. It's closed now, sadly.
Oh, no. No, I am sad. I didn't get to have it.
Well, speaking of subscriptions and AMC A-List, I took advantage of mine last weekend. Okay. Went to the theater for a double feature. There was not... This is getting really sad. Like, there was not much left in the theater that we had not already seen in the last month or that wasn't sequels to things that we haven't seen. So we haven't seen Ballerina because I've not caught up on all the John Wicks. I did not watch Jurassic World Rebirth or Unbirth or whatever it's called. I've not seen any of the new ones. I've still only ever seen the original trilogy. So I'm way behind. But we had not seen the Lilo and Stitch remake. So we went and saw that, and it was really bad. I I was so sad. Like, I enjoyed the first the animated Lilo and Stitch when it came out. It was so good, and they took out so much of what made it fun. I mean, there was a couple scenes that were pretty good in this, but it could not save just what felt soulless. And the sad thing is, I've not seen many of the live action remakes of the animated films that they've done for these last 12 or 15 years or whatever. This is something that I can compare because just 2 weeks ago, we went and saw the How to Train Your Dragon live action remake. That felt like a real movie. It felt like something that had a coherent storyline, that had every piece of it. Lilo and Stitch was just gone. I was sad that it felt like such a shell of what it could have been.
You know, I was reading that the guy, I know Chris Sanders was one of the ones who directed How to Train Your Dragon, but it's not him, it's the other guy whose name is escaping me. And he knew they were going to do it. And he said, well, I really don't want them to screw it up, so I'm just going to direct it. And I'm like, I respect that. Like, you know, it's nice to get directors who say, you know what, I have a vision for this. And I mean, I can criticize How to Train Your Dragon because it's the same movie. Like, it's shot for shot, the same movie. But it was good. I think they did improve on a couple things. I actually think the final set piece for How to Train Your Dragon is improvement over the animated because it just has a bigger scale to it.
Yep.
So yeah, I think there was a few net good changes as far as that goes. But yeah, with like Lilo and Stitch and stuff, I gave Lilo and Stitch a decent grade only because I think part of me had just seen Snow White before that, and I was like, well, it's better than that.
Yeah. And I don't know, I didn't trash it. I gave it like 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. It was just fine. It was just
it wasn't offensive.
No, and like there was nothing about it that made it atrocious. You know, even the movie I saw the week before, Megan 2.0,
Still haven't seen that.
It felt so much worse than the Lilo and Stitch movie. Anyways, the other thing, which I'm curious if you've seen this one, because you seem it seems like you're not going to as much in the theater at the moment, but you historically have gone out of your way to see some of these smaller movies. 40 Acres. Did you go see that one?
No.
Okay, so 40 Acres.
I'm a disappointment this year.
Daniel Deadweiler is living on a farm, and this is, I think it's 12 years after an event that happened that caused basically all of the food sources in the world to collapse. And so the people that have farmland are like the ones that are doing well. They're wealthy. People are coming to try to loot your land and your crops and whatever you can. But beyond that, this movie is kind of crazy because it's formatted, I don't know, almost like a post-apocalypse zombie movie in a couple ways with how they approach things. But really, this whole movie is just hanging on the performance of Danielle Deadweiler. And she was great, and a lot of the other performances were great. It was solid. It wasn't, the hard thing is it wasn't like, there's nothing special. It wasn't super unique. Because it plays off a lot of tropes that you've seen in a bunch of other movies, there was not a lot of I don't know, memorable things. I will say there's one very, very well done scene that was intimidating as hell that happened. Essentially, the entire room is dark and there are flashes of light that just allows for some really great cinematography for your eye to catch something in that flash for a second and go, oh, like I know what's happening. And then the sound design is coming in and making it easily for me the most memorable part of the film. But yeah, I don't know. It was good, but I sort of wanted a little bit more from it.
Yeah, it's I haven't went as much this year, and it really is just a distance thing. Like I got to the point this year where I was like, I only get until the summer, I only had one day off a week, and I was like, I spent an hour and a half driving there and back. That's 2.5 hours at the movie, even for a 2-hour movie, because previews are so long. Right. And it's just like, so even if I go see a 12 o'clock movie, I see one movie and I'm not back until 5:30. And I was just like, it's just not worth it. Like, and me and my girlfriend will go out. Like, we're going out tomorrow morning because right now they have like Jurassic World playing at like 8:55 in the morning.
I wish that.
I know. I'm so excited. Yeah, and then we're gonna go see Superman right afterwards at like 12. So that's nice. But yeah, I want to see 40 Acres. I don't know if it played at my theater or not. I feel like it did, but a lot of stuff like that just gets late showings.
There was one showing at the theater that we went to all day, and it was like 5:30 or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a little thing about being selective too. Like a lot of those little indie ones, they just want to throw them on late at night. I'm trying to remember a movie I saw where if I wanted to see it, it was like 10:30 at night, and I was just like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I just can't. Um, it's too much. I'm assuming you saw 28 Days Later though.
20 years later,
Yes,
yes.
years.
Yes, I thought that was very, very good, super unique, very British, which I think turned a lot of people off.
Yeah.
It definitely had the British side of Danny Boyle coming out strong, especially with that ending, which I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, what was that?" as they walked out of the theater. I'm so stoked to see what the next one ends up being from them.
Yeah, she's doing the next one, right? I
Yep,
believe.
yep.
Yeah, so that's
I
gonna
think
be
it's
different.
Bone Sanctuary or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing I watched this week, I'm curious if you saw this one, Steven Soderbergh's Presence from earlier this year. Did you see
Have
that?
not seen it yet. It's on my list. I got to see Wolfman too. I'm looking on here just see how many 2025 movies I've seen, and I have seen 41, but I'm just not hitting the ones you're hitting.
Man, and I'm usually like way behind you and everyone else. And I think, what am I up to? I'm up to 36. So somehow I'm just seeing different ones than you.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of the ones I've seen, like I'm trying to see how many of these have been theater watches. Not probably about half of them, because a lot of these I
Mm,
saw later. Like I'm looking at my top 10 for the year so far. Let's see, I've said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only like 6 of my top 10 I actually got to see in theaters. So a lot of them I just had to see later.
yeah.
Um,
So Presence, for those that don't know, I don't think this is a spoiler because it was in all the marketing and everything. It is a story told from the point of view of a spirit in a house. And I liked the gimmick aspect of that. I think it lent to some interesting cinematography choices. But I don't know. It was definitely far from top tier Soderbergh. I would say that. I wanted more out of it. I will say the climax of it really well done. I just think knowing Soderbergh and how he's done things in the past, I wish he would have done 4 of those scenes and then like an even bigger climax. But we kind of just got like a pretty sleepy movie, and then the last 8 minutes was like, yeah, this is what I wanted out of a movie like this.
Now, did you see Black Bag? Since he had 2 this year, have you?
Not yet.
That's the one I saw. See, I saw Black Bag in theaters.
No, I got the 4K here. I need to be watching it here
It's
soon.
good, man. It's really good. But yeah, I need to see Presence because I've heard it from a few people that it's been mixed enough to where it's interested me to kind of just see where I kind of fall on that, because I like the idea of the gimmick. And I like Soderbergh. I never know quite what to expect with him, which is what I think makes me like him as a director so much. It's just
Same,
like,
yeah.
who knows what I'm gonna get for this one.
I agree fully. So a couple things from this week that we should probably bring up. The Nightmare on Elm Street art saga. Good God. Did you pay attention to any of this online this week?
I mean, I saw that amazing looking AI artwork, and I really hope they use it. Please.
So, as it turns out, somebody on the Blu-ray.com forums got AI to make this art that was passed around all week that went all the way up literally to Warner Brothers to verify if this was the real art that was coming. And they had to publicly say, this is not authentic artwork.
I wonder if they're going to sue, because that could honestly, that could actually harm them long term, on sales. Yeah. 4K ain't exactly selling hot enough to have any loss in sales.
So what's the funny thing to me though is they've technically still not even announced it. They've not even said this is coming out. Now, as of 2 days ago, there is a listing on Amazon that showed up that we can see that there is a 4K Steelbook case coming out. But my big thing, the amount of other people on YouTube that had to go live and talk about the art for an hour or make a video with you making a face going next to it to say, this art is so bad, I'm going to die or whatever, is so fucking ridiculous. Why are we having reaction culture to something when it's not even official? Nobody has said this is the real art, and you're doing all these things to literally farm clicks from everybody that is subscribed to you. These people are embarrassing, and it's so ridiculous that people fall for it. I don't understand how these are getting 20,000 views in like a day talking about AI art that they can only say, we don't know if this is real yet, but look at it. It's so bad. It sucks.
Well, and I don't know if you've seen it yet. I was hearing about this today, so you might can correct me on it since you're on YouTube a lot more than I am. Have you seen that thing about how YouTube is looking to at least demonetize like the AI slop? That's
Good.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I was like, if we can like make it so people aren't interested in this AI slop to make easy money, that's
Right.
good. Like this might be the one thing YouTube does that's really good for the platform. See, you see, and it's like that. Look how much reaction some dude who got Chat GBT to make some shit art. I mean, he got Warner Brothers to look. He got all the attention he could have ever asked for.
Yeah, probably more than he
Yeah,
ever
like he
imagined
just
would
thought
have
it.
got.
I mean, to be fair, maybe the dude just thought it was a shit post and he didn't think it'd go that far. Like,
Yeah. The reality is we have no idea about any of the transfers. We have no idea about any of the extras. We have no idea of an official release date. All we know is it seems like a 7-film Nightmare on Elm Street 4K collection is coming eventually this year. There's been a pre-order up for the UK for quite some time now. We have no actual data on when that's going to happen. No idea on the real art, but good God, this is just atrocious that people jump on it to literally take advantage of people that are simply into the drama or want to react to everything. It is an embarrassment. And yeah, like Corinne says, glad I missed this fiasco. It was so bad for like a full 24 hours. It was everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, if they are going to do it, which I assume they are, because if Warner Brothers has to take the time to like check the art to sit there and say, okay, obviously something's coming, something from Nightmare, to me kind of says that, at least from speculation.
Well, and the Amazon listing is pretty damn apparent now.
Yeah.
Just at this point, just come out and announce it. Come on.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a big release because people have been begging Shout to do it for, I don't know, when did Friday the 13th come out? Since then, like,
gosh, that was what, 2020?
Yeah, so I mean, it'll be nice to have that release, and now it's potentially going to be overshadowed by all of that.
Yeah, and it will, undoubtedly there will be some, huge, like probably like 10% of the people that see the official announcement will go, this art is awful. I wish that fake one from 2 months ago was the actual art. And now they'll have to like either not respond, but that will be a vocal portion of people in the chat and in response to that in real life. It's crazy that that's a thing.
If Warner Brothers is smart, they will take inspiration from their DVD sets that were brilliant. Like, do those. Just do that. That's fine. Have the spines line up and do it. It'd be great, which we don't get that kind of stuff anymore. But I was like, that's one thing about the DVD sets in Nightmare. They all looked great. I can't think of one that looked bad.
Gary, you are so right. He says, before saying Warner Brothers would never make such AI slop, look at their artwork for the Blazing Saddle Steelbook. It is so bad. That was, I think, the worst piece of art last year, and that's only because the Ace Ventura one is coming out this year.
Oh yeah, I forgot about spitting that out. Is that the Walmart exclusive?
That one is a wide release, I believe, not Walmart exclusive.
Usually their Walmart exclusives have been shit, so I was just like, it's probably that one. I was like, do they just like, what's the worst artwork we have? Just give it to Walmart.
The sad thing is, pretty much all of those have been one artist, and every time I post the announcement, he goes in and comments on my announcement on Instagram and says, "Thanks for sharing." I'm like, "Okay, you're welcome."
Yeah, I mean, and I think people are harsh on artists. Like, there's like definitely been some Shout ones over the years that I'm like, I'm not crazy about this artist. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not my style, and they had that for a while. I do kind of miss, like, I forgot who their first artist was for Shout. I do miss them like a lot.
Oh gosh, what was his name? I think it started with a D.
Yeah.
Or Whitehead, Devin Whitehead.
That's it. Hey, I liked his art quite a bit, and even then it was controversial. I think now people look back and say, "Man, we wish we had his artwork." But I also
those were the good old days that everybody complained about.
Oh yeah, every time one came out, like, this looks like shit. Just put the original artwork out, and it's like, you can reverse the covers, guys.
Every single time. So the other big thing, people are freaking out because of the Night of the Living Dead 4K Steelbook that Sony announced. Went up for pre-order at Diabolic DVD yesterday for less than 15 minutes because they had put up a listing beforehand that everybody could sign up to get an email when it was live. And within 15 minutes, they sold out of their allotment, so they had to pull the listing. and everybody's freaking out. The website was down. You literally could not access anything on Diabolic DVD for like 45 minutes or an hour. It was real bad. And a lot of people obviously did not get it. And so everybody's freaking out now. It's gone. I'm never going to get one of these. It is so ridiculous. This is a wide release. It's going to be available everywhere. Nobody said that this was a Diabolic DVD exclusive. You're going to be able to get one. It's not going to sell out on day one. Are you excited about this movie? Have you seen the 1990 Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah, I actually have a steelbook of that one. Funny enough, I forgot who put that one out. So
I didn't know that it had a steel before. That's nice.
if you give me like 1 minute, I'll find it.
Sure, take your time. Mozart is right. Mozart says Sony's going to print this thing for years to come. This is a highly sought after 4K release with a cut of the film that we've wanted for years and years. This is something that people have been, thinking we will never see, and the fact that we're getting it, this is going to be very popular for Sony. And if Sony is one of those ones that does their limited steelbooks and it'll sell out, and then after like a year and a half they'll reprint it. However, because of how popular this is going to be, they'll likely do a standard in between, which they don't always do. In fact, they kind of rarely do. But this, I think, is going to get them a lot of money, and they're definitely going to keep printing it.
Here's the original one I had.
Oh, is that a U.S. release or is that from Germany?
I think it's Germany. It's got an 18 rating on it, uncut version. It says it's a Sony disc, but I can't see the company anywhere. Yeah, it doesn't say. It just says Sony. So I guess they put one out in Germany.
Huh. Interesting. Either that or they stole they weren't allowed to print it, and they were like, let's not put our name on it.
Yeah. They'll never know.
Oh, that's great.
I forgot that had an 18 rating on it, though.
Yeah. The other big thing, and this is the last thing. Normally, we don't bring up all the drama, but this one was funny enough that we got to discuss, because I don't normally cover Massacre video releases. Did you hear about what happened with them this week?
Is it the same? I'll just let you tell me, just so I don't make an assumption.
The bankruptcy paper.
Yeah. I did see that fake thing. I called that one.
Well, hold on.
Oh, wait,
I've got a theory on that. So a court document showed up in a Facebook group of Lewis Justin from Massacre Video declaring bankruptcy. It was something that we didn't see any more documentation. We just saw that it's happening in one of the LA district courts, filing for bankruptcy, and it got a lot of people going, well, that's why I haven't gotten my stuff in almost a year. And now he had to go on, I think it was Instagram, and respond and say, hey, this document that was going around, he brought up a picture of the document and in big red letters wrote fake over it, and said, this is all fake. We're just slow. We're between distributors right now. Everything is still coming and all that. Just to come out and say, hey, this is fake. We're not filing bankruptcy. Again, I'm not saying this is real, but it would not surprise me because of what Massacre Video has done in the past. That doesn't mean that it's not real. He could literally just be doing that to save face at the moment. This is one of those things that it's a tough situation. What I'm trying to say is it's none of our business until it is our business. Once we hear that something has happened, yeah, you can try to go get refunds theoretically through your card processor, through Massacre Video, if it is a real thing. But if it's not a real thing, you'll get your releases eventually. So there's two possibilities, but causing drama online over it doesn't do anything to help anybody.
If this is a court document, is it not? Is bankruptcy stuff not a public document in California?
So it is, and I tried to do the right thing. I spent an hour researching this, and everything I found was I had to pay to access the documents. I wasn't about to do that. This is not that important to me. So
yeah, maybe they do that for bankruptcy, because I was like, if it's civil or criminal, they definitely would have released it publicly.
Gary says Warner Brothers should have stamped fake.
That would have been awesome.
But yeah, I agree with Reservoir. I don't trust Massacre Video at all. Like, I won't even say as far as I can throw him, because I can probably throw him like 4 feet. I wouldn't even throw him 1 feet. It's not worth it. Massacre Video is somebody that historically has taken money for pre-orders for stuff that wasn't even anywhere near like replication or authoring, and people would get stuff later. Everybody needs to just calm down. So much of this is not that serious. And if one of these companies is filing bankruptcy, like I said, there are two possible outcomes. You fighting about it online isn't going to do anything. Either you're going to get your stuff eventually, or you get a refund, or you fight for a refund. You may not get it, but that's one of the outcomes. It's just one of those things that happens.
It's why, like, with certain labels, it's best to file it on a credit card.
Or wait until it's at Orbit
Yeah.
DVD or Diabolic, and only then buy the
Yeah.
releases. Or just don't support them at all because they do shitty things.
Well, it's like I don't order. I mean, and this might just be me, just because I was never crazy about Savi, but I don't order Arrow directly from Arrow. I don't remember the last time I did.
No.
I just don't like to. I've literally ordered stuff from Arrow, and then it'd be available at Orbit before I ever got it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just order from Orbit. It's fine.
Yes. Sibner, yes. Sibner is saying that's just the thing. If someone files for bankruptcy, they're exempt from paying back debts. It's not exactly like that. If they
Which
have
chapter is he supposedly going
I don't
through?
even remember.
He
It's
didn't
not
even
that important. No, we don't need to go through that. Corinne says, "Is the news that BS is suing Orbit fake?"
Now, as much as I don't like AI slop, those have been kind of funny.
A couple of them have been funny, and thankfully, one of the person that was making them is in the chat or sharing them at least. Hi, Philip. Yeah, VS, as far as I know, is not suing Orbit. But the live video that Orbit did is very enlightening on that subject. If anybody wants to see it, send me an email. I might have a link that you can watch it on. Corinne said, just kidding. I think that's probably enough drama for the night. Should we go to the announcements?
Yeah, let's do it. I did already kind of take a sneak peek, so I didn't know what half of those were, so I'll be glad when we get to like the middle section.
Well, I know you know what this first one is, and I don't think we've ever talked about this one. So what do you think about Wolf Creek?
Oh, I adore Wolf Creek. That's probably, I like the both movies and both seasons of TV show. Excellent.
Damn, I've not seen the show yet. I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think it's a cheaply made show. If you go in thinking it's going to be high quality television, you're going to be disappointed, but it's very entertaining.
Yeah. I love this first movie. I think the second movie is really great too. Adam says Wolf Creek is adorable. Oh, that's the last adjective I would have used, but I like it. Yeah, Imprint putting out a 4K box set release of just the first film. They still have to put it in a box with multiple cases on September 24th, coming out of Australia. This one has no new bonus features, but we got a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc. And it's got the unrated cut on Blu-ray. It's got the unrated cut on 4K. And then there's a third Blu-ray disc that has the theatrical cut on Blu-ray only. So you're not getting theatrical in 4K, just the unrated cut in 4K.
You know, I almost feel like Imprint did it the way they did. They were like, which cover do we go with? We'll just do both.
Yeah, or all three, theoretically, considering they kind of made...
Oh, yeah.
Sure,
yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I love this movie. I can't pay Imprint prices to get this as much as I adore Wolf Creek.
I feel like somebody else can put a 4K out of Wolf Creek if they've done a master.
It's already happened in Germany. I guarantee eventually this will likely get a 4K in the US. Like, come on. I know that I shit on them all the time. Shout Factory. Give us a 4K box set of just a double feature of the first two.
I think there is, because for a long time you couldn't get Wolf Creek on Blu-ray in the US.
Right.
But I think that's changed. I think I've seen it at Walmart now. So somebody's got, I don't know who has the rights to it now, but somebody does.
Would be nice for sure. But yes, that is an Imprint release coming in September. We had a couple more Vinegar Syndrome announcements that were coming in after the show last week. So the first one is a Blu-ray release of Fire Maidens of Outer Space. This one is coming as part of their VS Labs line. And this is a 1956 Paramount film. Sci-fi, very much fits in their alien invasion theme. This one is scanned and restored in 4K and only released in a Blu-ray package for some reason, even though this already had a Blu-ray release, which is kind of odd to me. We got a commentary on here with Jonathan Rigby and Kevin Lyons. I don't remember if that's on the olive disc. I probably should have checked. We also got a commentary with Chris Shields and Sarah Fensom. There's a new visual essay by Dr. Sabina Stent, and then a new visual essay by Dr. Benjamin Tucker as well. But I like this art. This is a fun-looking release. I'm not super into the 50 sci-fi stuff like this, but for fans of the genre, honestly, you might have the old olive disc, so I don't even know if this is something that you would jump on.
I mean, for the cool artwork, I guess.
I guess.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it is vinegar syndrome. That is a big selling point for a lot of people. Although I got to be honest, I've not been hot on vinegar syndrome specific artwork for like a long time. I feel like they've degraded that quite a bit.
Yeah, they're not the ones I would put as like top tier as far as like artwork goes. I think Arrow still does really good with a lot of theirs. TerraVision does great with theirs. I've liked a lot of theirs they come out with. Even sadly that one that was accused of AI, which I thought was actually really good. But
my vote still goes to Radiance.
yeah, Radiance, of course.
One of the most eye catching, and then Deaf Crocodile. I'm a little biased, but I think Deaf Crocodile has incredible art.
Second Sight's one that I wish I could sit there and say a lot of theirs is good, and then some of theirs is a little hit or miss. But they put out great releases, so
I think Second Sight has some of the best discs in the game with some of the worst artwork ever.
Yeah, some of the floating head stuff is a little much for me.
Yeah. It was Olive That Doesn't Count. That's really funny.
Like, pick 5 people off the street who've heard of Olive Films.
Or Sandpiper Pictures now. The Arrow video. Speaking of Arrow, their Camp Arrow video sale has launched. This is their 6th year in a row. I can get up to 50% off of hundreds of UHDs, box sets, and blues. This ends July 30th, so you got plenty of time. It's on sale in the Arrow UK and in the Arrow US. The biggest question I've been getting from people sending me messages on this is they're not showing discounts on second run titles anymore like they used to, or on third window. And from the same source, I'm hearing that second run and third window are not going to be distributed through Arrow anymore. So those discount days are possibly over. However, as a counter to that, I will say Rare Waves is currently running a sale on Arrow video titles as well. And some of the prices are even better on the Rare Wave site than on the Arrow site. So if you're going to be shopping at the Arrow sale, you might want to compare because you can get some better deals. And Rare Waves carries all kinds of stuff, not just Arrow video. So if you're looking for some of those other ones, they might not be on sale, but you can save on shipping, get them all in the same package.
Yeah, the only one I've been kind of curious about with Arrow is I kind of want to get their random assortment of Friday the 13th stuff because those ended up being pretty good, I think, didn't they?
They're okay.
No,
I'm still curious. I don't know if at least one of them is actually a 4K scan of the OCN. It doesn't look good enough to be a 4K scan of the OCN, so I'm very curious what happened there. They've got a couple that are sort of questionable for me, and it specifically the Friday the 13th ones.
I just really want Jason Goes to Hell because I feel like I need to get that one.
For some reason, I completely understand that about you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right before I got on the show, I rewatched part 5, and I was like, you know what? This is top 5 in the series.
I mean, that's not hard. Yeah, I agree. Next up, 101 Films over in the UK is hosting a summer sale. This is pretty much everything is on sale as far as I can tell. That is not an immediate release from just in the last couple months. One thing I do want to shout out, and they're even highlighting them here, is Never Sleep Again and Crystal Lake Memories are on sale from 101. And if you're region free, I don't think either of those are in print in the US anymore, and I highly doubt Never Sleep Again is going to be in this Warner Brothers box set they're putting out.
No, that's
Warner
not.
I highly doubt it. That would be a completely surprising thing for them to do. So if you want these cheap, I think they're absolutely worth it.
Now I'm trying to remember. Daniel Farrens is the one who did the documentaries on those two, didn't he? This might be a random question that I just know for some reason.
That name sounds familiar. Let me look.
He wrote Halloween 6. Like that's kind of one of his like big fame, but he also he made that terrible Sharon Tate movie that had Lizzie McGuire in it.
Oh, yeah. Lizzie McGuire, that's funny. Yeah, it was Daniel Farrens.
Yeah, there we go. I always think it's funny because that's definitely like the best thing he ever did was those 2 documentaries. I was like, you should have just stuck with that, man.
And they're both incredible, by the way. For those that have never seen it, they are both magnificent.
What are they, like 4 or 5 hours long?
Yeah. And one of them might even be 6, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, I feel like when I watched Crystal Lake Memoirs, I did it over like a week.
Jason says, I won't be upgrading to the recent Arrow Friday the 13th releases. The transfers are not that great.
Well, that's disappointing. Well, that's good to know.
I'm glad somebody agrees with me.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Hey, save me money, please. Tell me everything I want looks terrible.
For those that have never seen it, if you're looking to save money while you're in the sale, Basketball, masterpiece of a movie as well.
Oh, I love basketball.
Another of the extreme titles for fans of all of those. July 24th, Bizarre Theater Releasing is putting out a double feature of Sunken Danish and Monstrosity. These are from 2012 and 2014. Two brutal, gory, and unforgettable snuff-inspired horrors from Denmark. A grotesque double feature for the truly fearless. This is going to be limited edition, I believe. Yeah, strictly limited to 500 copies. Once it's gone forever. Check it out for everybody into the extreme stuff.
500 copies, and they just had to put that giant double feature to separate them. Like,
I mean, they don't have a ton of money for artwork, but
That's fair.
At least the movies are getting a release.
Yeah, 500 is probably generous on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they'll probably sit there for a while. I gotta admit. What's going on, Sam? The Disconnected, that's me, posted about Target having a sale this week, and this is a really rough week for sales. We already just talked about two, and there's so much happening right now. So Target buy two get one free sale is happening. This goes on until Saturday night, July 12th. For those that don't know, they carry boutique stuff online, not in store, obviously, but a lot of the US boutiques are carried online. Certainly not all of them. You're not going to find every title, but Shout Factory has a lot of their stuff there. Def Crocodile, their standard editions on Target right now are, I think a lot of them are like $16.99. And so if you buy 3 Def Crocodile standard editions, you're literally getting them for $11 a piece. That's incredible for the discs that you're getting.
Yeah, more than worth it.
Yeah. So Target is having their sale, and of course, Papa Bezos has to come in and say, no, we're not letting you steal the spotlight from us. So Amazon did a matching buy two get one free sale. Of course, while all of this is happening, we've got the Barnes & Noble Criterion sale happening still, which means 50% off of all of those, and Amazon is matching that. So you've got sales everywhere for that. And then, of course, this week, it's also Amazon Prime daily deals, whatever they're calling it this year, because Prime Day is now 4 days, I guess. Ridiculous. But there's actually some pretty decent deals. I don't like giving Amazon money, but there's a couple that I definitely did because I will never see those titles get that cheap. Check them out. If you are on social media, I'm everywhere posting the deals as much as I can. I don't post most of them on Instagram because you got to put pictures for everything. And you can't click links, so it's pointless. But yeah, go check that out if you're on other social media. All the sales, have you partaken in any?
No, I'm really bad at sales because I think it's because like every time I find out there's a sale, I found out after I like spent my budget for what I was willing to like spend because I get paid on the last day of the month and the 15th of every month. Yep. So whatever I'm going to buy then. If there's no sales going on then, oh well. And then I'll be like 4 days later like, I should have waited.
Well, the 15th is this next week, so
yeah,
a couple of these will still be going on.
Yeah.
Next up, speaking of second run, they're putting out Who Wants to Kill Jesse from 1966 on August 25th on Blu-ray. This is from the director of 3 Wishes for Cinderella, and it is a delightfully demented, absurdist 1966 comic book fantasy that is unlike anything else in the Czech New Wave and presages the DC and Marvel comic book franchises by several decades. This is a new HD transfer by the Czech National Film Archive. There's an early comic short film by the director presented from a brand new HD transfer. There's a projection booth commentary episode with Mike White, Jim Laskowski, and Jonathan Owen. There's a visual essay by Michael Brook on crazy Czech comedies. There's a book with new writing by Czech cinema expert Jonathan Owen. New subtitle translation, all kinds of stuff. To me, eventually, this is a must-own for sure.
I want to know how Second Run got this away from Craig. This feels like it went, man.
Craig says no comment, and this doesn't count. So take that for what you will.
Yeah, I was just reading animated by Czech New Wave. I was like, sounds familiar. Been here before.
Oh yeah. Next 4K release coming from Kino of Taika Waititi's Boy from 2010. I really like this movie. I'm glad this is coming to 4K. Have you seen this one?
No, I think this is the only Taika movie I have not seen. No, wait, I haven't seen that last one he made. So I haven't seen this one or his last one.
Was the last one, was that the soccer
one?
Yeah,
whatever it was called.
I don't remember the title, but it looked very like Hallmark Channel.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't interested. He had a weird career after he won an Academy Award. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that and like being forced to do Thor 3 and that not doing well seemed to knock him off his
Oh, that
rocker.
was Thor 4. Ragnarok was actually good.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, everyone forgets
Um,
Dark World. It's fine.
I completely it doesn't exist. So yeah. The next announcement from Vinegar Syndrome, which I gotta be honest, this was the most exciting announcement for me of the full subscriber week from them. As part of their VSA line, they're putting out a Nick Millard action collection covering from 1977 to 1985. This is going to include 357 Magnum, Alcatraz Breakout, One Armed Warrior, Street Race, and Shotgun. They had announced previously that they had acquired all of Nick Millard's films, and I believe after this, which includes 5 movies, by the way, for a very, very reasonable price, I will say, for what they're putting out here. And I usually don't say that about Vinegar Syndrome. So yeah, it's a pretty good price. This is, I believe, 9 titles that they've released from Nick Millard now. And from what they said at the beginning, I think they said they had 15. So I think we have 6 more coming from him eventually. Not sure how those are going to come out. It could come out as 3 double features. They could put out a 6-film set as another VSA or just a regular VS release, or who knows. But I believe we have 6 more coming from Millard still.
I might pick that one up, actually. I'll take movies like that. It's fine.
Yeah,
Sounds worth the price, at least.
I think so. So these are newly scanned and restored in 4K from the 16 millimeter negatives, which is really cool. Commentary track with the author Brian Albright for 357 Magnum. There's a newly produced documentary on the life and films of Nick Millard that I'm kind of really excited to watch. We've got an interview with Valerie Millard, the daughter of Nick Millard. There's a 40-page book coming with this by Brian Albright and Charles Devlin. Yeah, to me, this is a win of a release. It looks really fun. It's only a 2-disc set, and they're putting 5 films on there. However, the 5 films are each right around an hour long, so I don't think it's going to dig into like compression issues or anything like that too much. But yeah, check it out.
Is it a 100 GB disc?
Or
is this a Blu-ray?
This is a Blu-ray, so not a
Okay.
4K. So I believe they will be using 50 gig discs for this. Yeah, this is exciting. If you like low budget action stuff, watch the trailer at least. These look really fun. Really fun.
I like it's trashy 70s stuff, basically, right?
Yeah.
I'm into that. That's fine.
70s, and I think what was it? Yeah, 77 to 85. So right in that era. Next up, another sale. I think this is still going on. I've not checked. But MVD was running a label sale on Arrow Video, Blue Underground, Full Moon Feature, Severin, MVD Rewind, and MVD Visual. There's a couple other random things that they were throwing in there, but if you want to check it out, they had a big banner on top of the website, and they had stuff as low as literally $2.98 for Blu-rays, which is a crazy price.
I think that was last time I ordered from them. That was the price of how stuff was going.
Jeez.
Yeah.
They do some crazy interior sales for stuff like that. But yeah, lots of stuff on sale for that one. This is so funny to me. Kino putting out a 4K someday of The Rock in Walking Tall, and everybody responded by saying, "Well, what about the original one?" Unfortunately, that's not happening. Brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master on this. If you want to see The Rock in 4K, this will be your opportunity.
I feel like The Rock might be the actor who's been featured most on a 4K disc. He's got to be up there by now.
Ooh.
It's either him or Marvel, but that feels like cheating.
Yeah, Marvel, like, oh, you know what? Samuel L. Jackson or Scarlett Johansson, probably.
What?
God, I would love to know the answer to that.
See, now I've got something for the next time I show up. I'll have like a spreadsheet and everything just posted here.
Yep. All right. Well, that's enough of Walking Tall. The next release from Vinegar Syndrome this last week was 5 Dead on the Crimson Canvas from 1996. This is from their Degausser line. Now, their Degausser line is basically for like the lo-fi releases that they're putting out. Theoretically, many of these have been either shot on film and edited on video, or a couple have been shot on video entirely. This one was shot on film and edited on video, I believe. This is newly transferred and restored from the best surviving tape master, though, unfortunately. Commentary with the writer-director Joseph F. Parda and Joe Zasso. If that name sounds familiar to you, Joe Zasso is the one featured on a TerrorVision Lost in the 80s collection. They did a collection of Joe's films. So if you check that out and you were into it, hey, you might like something here attached to it. But essentially, this is a low budget, like NYC version of a Giallo. I'm into
Jolly, I would have
seeing
never
this.
guessed.
I'm into seeing this. I have not bought it yet, but I'm into seeing it for sure.
Yeah, look, it's a cool cover. I'm into it.
Yeah, it's nice art. Next up, this is not even available for pre-order yet, but we already got a look at the US release of the Superman 4K Steelbook, and Warner Brothers is doing one of the PET plastic sleeves that you lift up on this to open up the chamber for Superman to be able to be visible in the ice caves here. I like this release. It looks like there's going to be literally like 4 or 5 different designs for Steelbooks all over the world for this one. If you're a DC fanboy, they are going all in on Superman, and it's going to be a major smash hit. Be prepared if you want options on this one, because it's going to be crazy.
I'll wait for the Man of Steel one. I'll be that
guy. Craig, you know what I meant. I'm just describing the aesthetic there. Yes, Fortress of Solitude.
Too bad Kevin Smith isn't in the comments. We'll just have to let Craig do that for us. Like, be the Kevin Smith here.
I got to be honest. I'm not swimming in the DC fountains all that much. Although I am seeing Superman this weekend. I'm not one that worships it. I know it's called the Fortress of Solitude, but it's kind of funny anyways. Let's go back to the classy stuff. September 15th, Studio Canal over in the UK releasing a special collector's edition, 4K release of The Graduate from 1967. You've got a classic film starring Dustin Hoffman that most people have seen, have bought at least on 1 or 2 formats before, and now coming in Studio Canal, putting all of them to shame with what looks like a really great release.
I have a question. How do people feel about, like, I haven't kept up with the Studio Canal, like how people feel about it. I kind of like these covers they're doing, like this style. I've seen a few of them. I dig it.
I adore them.
Okay. I was just like, I'm so, like, sometimes I feel lost when I hear people like in the community talk about art. So I'm like, I think these are pretty nice looking. I would buy them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're classy. It gives it I don't know, an air of, you know, we're giving this some reverence in a way. Pretty happy with it. But yeah, as Sibner says, this will be on 4K from Criterion eventually. Yeah. You can count on that. However, nowadays, I trust Studio Canal more than 4K for their discs, for sure. This will be a 3-disc set, including the Simon & Garfunkel soundtrack. There will be a 64-page booklet with new essays from Christina Newland, David Jenkins, Helen O'Hara, and Simon Brew. You get 2 posters with this, the original art and then this new art that they did, which is pretty cool. You get audio commentaries by Professor Thomas Kebner. You get Mike Nichols and Steven Soderbergh on the commentary that was ported over. Dustin Hoffman and Catherine Ross on the 3rd commentary. And then on the bonus Blu-ray, there is all kinds of extras here. Meeting with an author, Charles Webb, one-on-one with Dustin Hoffman, interview with the producer, Lawrence Terman, The Graduate looking back, and all of these are all archival extras for sure. And Sibner, no, it will not be $90. This thing will probably be $50.
Wasn't there, what was it? Elephant Man, where it had that like statue or something with it? It wasn't a statue. It was like something. What was it? It was.
I know they did. Mulholland Drive was big that they did.
Maybe that was the one. It was like something Lynch they did that I know was like.
I think it was Mulholland that they did that was huge, and then they also did The Conversation that had the fold out thing and the pop up and the cassette tape.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Maybe the weirdest announcement of the week, coming October 7th, Vertical Entertainment putting out Guns Up, the action film starring Christina Ricci and Kevin James. I gotta be honest, the trailer for this didn't look that bad.
I just think, like, I like Kevin James and Becky. I actually thought I've liked both of those movies, and I didn't expect to. Kind of an odd career turn for him, so I'm curious.
Yeah, it's definitely an odd career turn. I had somebody comment and ask, this is so funny, but did Happy Madison produce this movie?
That would be awesome, actually. Come on, Happy Madison, produce some thrillers.
I mean, it looks kind of fun. It's just a weird looking cover. I think if people give the trailer a chance, you might find something you like in it. Sibner says, why does Kevin James look like Common? He kind of does. You're right. The Elephant Man had a pop-up of the hospital.
That's what it was.
Ronnie is shouting out the Third Man was a big pop-up of the Ferris wheel too.
So the pop-up thing's just big for them. Okay. I'm getting that now.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, I think the Mulholland Drive had like a 7-inch vinyl with it or something. I don't remember. It was that release was like a longer release too, if I remember right. Anyways, carrying on. The last announcement from Vinegar Syndrome for this week was the worst kept secret of the week, and that is A New Leaf from 1971 getting a 4K release from the Cinematograph line. This had, for about, I don't know, 4 minutes, a bundle that you could purchase with the book Miss May Does Not Exist by Carrie Currigan. This sold out very quickly. However, to everybody that wanted the book, you can buy it on Amazon, and it's cheaper than it was on the Vinegar Syndrome website. So you can still get it. It's not like it's gone forever. Good looking art. I actually like the art for this Cinematograph. I usually don't like their art all that much, but I think this one looks pretty good and fits the comedic tone of this pretty well.
Reminds me of Arsenic and Old Lace. Like that's what.
Oh, yes, very much so. Especially that back cover.
Yeah.
So this is a 2-disc set. You got a 4K and a Blu-ray. We got a new commentary by KJ Reith Miller and Maya Montañez Smokler, the author of Liberating Hollywood Women Directors and the Feminist Reform of 1970s American Cinema. New interview with Carrie Currigan, the author of Miss May Does Not Exist that I just talked about. New visual essay by Alexandra Heller-Nicholas called Looking for Elaine May. There's an hour-long post-screening discussion between Elaine May and her frequent collaborator conducted at the Film at Lincoln Center's Walter Reed Theater in New York City in 2006. Some other archival stuff that had been ported over. And then, of course, new text essays from Sarah Fensum, critic Elena Lozic, queer historian and critic Willow Caitlin McClay, and then a critic editor, Hannah Strong, as well as a previously published piece by Richard Brody. So there's all kinds of stuff coming in this. Fun-looking release. I've not seen the movie, but one that I have meant to for quite some time. I actually really like Walter Matthau, and this is a fun-looking cast. I've heard it's great. But our next one, Refuse Films over in the UK, however you want to pronounce it, whether you're British or not. July 28th, they're releasing 3 more Blu-rays. The first one is Cat Sick Blues from 2016. If you've heard the name of this title before, it's because Wild Eye put out a DVD of this that was on sale. I do too. Right there. This DVD has been on sale for like $2 for years, basically.
Dimension Extreme put it out too, I think. In the US. Yeah, I think that was one of their titles. Yeah. I remember, and I'll have a funny story about this. So when I first started my Instagram, where I used to just post things I bought, this was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. I had posted this one on there, and the internal cover, because it's a clear one, shows like the scene where like the dude is getting a I don't know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube, a fellatio from a decapitated head. And the director commented on it and said provocative cover art. So only time I ever had a director comment to me on anything. I was like, that's awesome.
Corinne says, what is coming out of the cat's pants? You don't
watch it. Watch it and find out.
The answer is yes. Mondo's here. What's up, Mondo? Just got my MVD sale package. Couldn't be happier with my $13 Blue Underground 4Ks. God damn, that's cheap. How are they $13? That's crazy. Jeez. Cat Sick Blues. We actually got some stuff to cover here. Just like Refuse has done on all of their releases so far, they've done, I think this is their 6th, 7th, and 8th releases. These are fully loaded. These are pretty much everything you could want. There are 3 audio commentaries for this film, deleted scenes, documentary, short films, tons of music videos, trailers, all that stuff. This is the director's approved uncut version. It's region free, so you can watch it anywhere in the world. But the big thing that I don't know if this is too public yet. It was confirmed over in my Discord that there's a US release of this coming soon, which because of who said it, I believe that it will be coming from an OCN partner label. So if that excites you, you may want to wait on that. Personally,
another movie I expected Craig to get. I can't believe it. It's a cat movie and we didn't get it from Deaf Crocodile.
I don't think this is up Craig's alley, sadly. What I would get to what I would bet ahead of time, though, I don't think the OCN release is going to even have half of these extras. This is so much.
And that artwork, I'm getting it just for the artwork. I was like,
it's pretty great. Motto says grab 10 of them. They were dirt cheap. That's crazy. If they were $13, that is wild. Their 4Ks are top notch. Jeez. Okay, Cat Sick Blues is the first title. The second one, Off Ramp. This is from 2024, limited to 2,000 units. It's got a 24-page booklet, and this is what they call a Juggalo road movie. This has 4 different audio commentaries, including a Juggalo commentary. Craig says, I'm cat crazy, but there are limits. The rest of this release is crazy. We got deleted scenes, a full documentary, 4 different behind-the-scenes featurettes, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different interviews, 3 different trailers, and then again, the director's approved uncut version, all kinds of stuff coming in this. And for what they charge for these releases, like you can get all 3 of these for like $70 on Brother Belial right now, I think, or 73, something like that. Crazy content that they're putting on all of these to make them absolutely worth the cost.
I might grab all 3 of these. I haven't bought anything from them, but I'm liking at least what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Looks like nice stuff.
Well, and to finish out, if this is going to be what entices somebody, Rock and Roll Frankenstein from 1999 is the third of the modern bundle that they're doing. By the way, I don't think I said this. They're calling this a Series 1 line. So it seems like they got more stuff coming like this soon. Again, 24-page booklet, limited to 2,000 units. This is a 2K scan of the director's uncut version in widescreen. You got an SD video master of the director's uncut version in full screen if you want that. An audio commentary, 3 different archival materials, making of documentary, outtakes, another documentary, some new interviews, multiple music videos, some short films, trailers, an Easter egg. Tons of stuff. Liam, who runs the Refuse label, puts absolutely everything he can into these releases. These are great. I don't know if people know these films or are fans of these films. I know Cat Sick Blues is well known. I don't think I'd ever heard of the other 2.
I haven't. And you're right. It's 77 on Belial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's pretty great. And with Brother Belial, if you pay $100, it's free shipping. I mean, you get 1 more release and you're getting 4 films, free shipping, and 3 of them are this loaded. That's a pretty crazy value.
Oh, wow. I just looked at the Wolf Creek one. Never mind on that. Jesus. I didn't know it was that
pricing
much.
For you. How much is it there? Like 95?
79.
Oh, honestly, not as bad as I expected.
It's bad for me.
Because if you buy it directly from imprint, it's like $100 to have it shipped.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Cannot do it.
All right. That is Refuse Films. Severin has finally started revealing the titles coming in their summer sale. So we're going to be talking about, I think, 4 of them tonight. The first one, getting a 4K release from Severin, is the film Baskin from 2015. This is the worldwide 4K premiere with 3+ hours of special features. You got an audio commentary with the director. You've got a 10 years later featurette, trailers, a bunch of short films, which actually really excite me. Baskin, you say good movie. Mm-hmm. How much do you like Baskin?
It has been a while since I've seen it, so I don't want to speak please go see this. But when I watched it when it came out a decade ago, it was probably one of my favorites for that year when it came out. It was really good.
So you and I see eye to eye on a lot of things. This is absolutely one of them. Baskin is incredible. This is a fever dream of a movie that I feel like this is maybe a weird take, but I feel like this is the closest we're going to get to like a proper modern take on a Hellraiser style of story and what they could have done with some of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I really, really love the makeup effects in this movie. The acting is surprisingly good. It is just really well done. I appreciate this movie so much. I will absolutely be wanting this 4K originally. Not in the sale, maybe, because it's not going to be on sale yet, but eventually I definitely want this.
Turkey? Is this a Turkey film?
I think it's Turkish or like Estonian or something like that. Does it say in here? It probably does. Josh says, saw Baskin at the U.S. premiere. That would be incredible to look back on.
Oh, absolutely. Turkish. Okay.
Turkish. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you said it comes with some shorts. Does it come with the short film with it? Because apparently that is based on a short film.
It does come with the original short film. It also comes with To My Mother and Father from 2010, My Grandmother from 2008, The Chest from 2007, and Screws from 2006.
See, I feel like if you get releases like this as a boutique, you should feel some responsibility to get some of these things out there. There's no way to see these other things, probably half of them anyway.
Everybody is confirming it's turkey in the comments,
Sweet.
and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm dying to rewatch this. The thing I will say is most of this movie is very dark, and this will look incredible in 4K. The detail that you'll be able to see in those dark scenes is going to be amazing. And then there are some scenes that are pretty bright also. So I'm very curious to see what this looks like. This will absolutely be on my wish list for when it goes on sale from Severin.
Yeah, I'll pick it up then for sure.
Next up, one that I will not be purchasing.
I can't believe it took them this long to get a Scarface release out. My God.
The 114th version of Scarface is coming out as an Amazon exclusive 4K Steelbook in the US soon. The date I'm seeing could either be like November or January-ish on this one. So we're getting a 4K Steelbook with new art, and the new art's not bad.
The art pisses me off because we've had so much good art from Scarface in the last 45 years.
Literally what I was going to say. It's not bad art necessarily, but it's the same freaking floating head thing that we always see.
Like one of the most iconic 80s posters is the black and white one with like I'm not somebody who says you need to put the original poster art, but if you're going to give me the choice between that and the original poster art, then give me the original poster art.
Yeah. So the big thing here is this thing is expensive. So to pre-order this on Amazon is $75.
And after the Kingdom of Heaven thing, I can't just assume it's going to go down in price now.
No, and I should say the reason it's $75 is not just a 4K Steelbook.
Yeah.
You're also getting a metal poster with a magnet wall mount, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I like that they're doing that. There's a numbered certificate of authenticity. We don't actually need that. And then a collectible box again.
I love the authenticity thing. The David Gordon Green Halloween Steelbook has it too, and I'm like, why? Like, why is this a thing?
Yeah. So
who's making these?
Everybody that just absolutely adores Scarface, yeah, we're going to get this $75. Cool. This is a big thing. No, Craig, you don't get any cocaine with it. Sorry. But
this is send you like a Coke coupon, for Coca-Cola 12-pack. That would be awesome.
That would be really funny. That would have been great. So Scarface, this has been a beloved film for 40 plus years. People have wanted this. Most people own this, all that stuff. But to match it, they're putting out the exact same style of release with Five Nights at fucking Freddy's.
It's like, all right, we got to get the people who were 30 to 40, and we need to get the 12-year-olds. We've got both. We're good.
Oh, man. This is hilarious. So, on October 7th, they are doing, again, a $75 bundle release of Five Nights at Freddy's 4K Steelbook, and it comes with, yes, a metal poster with a magnetic wall mount, a numbered certificate of authenticity, and a collectible, of course, pizza box.
And you know what? I guarantee you this sells out before Scarface. Somehow this will sell out before Scarface does.
So the big thing, let's be realistic here. These are both coming from the studio. In the US, that is very weird to have a studio put out $75 premium boutique style releases for both of these movies.
Did they get Lionsgate limited numbers and say we can do that too? Like,
well, and they're both Amazon exclusive, so they're shipping the money to Bezos at the end of the day. But the big thing is, you can smell this from a mile away. These are a test. If these do well and they both sell numbers, you are going to see a lot more of these from Universal, and they're literally just going to be a new Steelbook, no new extras, in a collectible box with a metal poster. And so if these are showing up in a bunch of hauls on other people with those same clickbait YouTube pictures, whatever, and you're seeing a lot of them show up in October, you're probably going to be seeing more of these from Universal in 6 months.
And I mean, it's complicated because like I like the idea that Universal wants to do better packaging. That's cool, because I think their slip covers are atrocious. So that's great. But this is weird. It's just so weird. Like, at least when Lionsgate Limited did it, they said, here's the conversation. It's like, oh, cool. Here's Apocalypse Now. That's cool.
Yeah. I got to be honest. Do this for a title that you've never put out on 4K.
Yeah, something,
and it's like a lot more exciting.
Yeah, like I know the conversation probably. Did it have a release before then, or was that its first 4K? I can't remember.
It had the 4K from Studio Canal over in the UK,
but
it was the exact same package. Yes,
yeah,
first US release.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty exciting. I mean, Sure, they did Apocalypse Now, which has had 100 releases, but you did that second, not first.
Yep. Yeah, this is one of those things that you can smell it a mile away, and I'm not against the studios doing something like this. Again, I'm fine with them doing deluxe edition releases. I want them to even. I want to see that physical media is alive and well. However, to choose Scarface, up there with Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Evil Dead as one of the most exploited pieces of merchandising ever for a film, and now Five Nights at Freddy's. I get this one because there's a sequel about to come out. That doesn't surprise me, but do it for a new movie.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing that's kind of with Scarface, like the 4K of that one looks really good. At least my memory the last time I watched it. So it's not like it needs a new
it looks
anniversary.
Better than Goodfellas.
Yeah, and it's like, sure, yeah, you probably don't need another scan of this, but you need something. Like, I'd be way more enticed if you got an interview from F. Murray Abraham at this point. Like, just give me something. Like, I don't know. Do something different with it. I mean, no, what they should bring back is the old DVD used to count how many times the movie said fuck and how many bullets were fired. Bring that feature back. That was awesome. Include the old PS2 game with it. I don't know. Do something cool.
Give us the fuck shot cut.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird. Like, again, I agree with you. We don't need a new scan of Scarface necessarily, but like Craig just said in the comments, all of the manufacturing of like a magnetic wall mount, you could have gotten people to do a commentary for Scarface for free.
De Palma would have probably recorded another commentary.
Right. There are so many people that would have lined up to talk about how formative this movie was for them in film school.
You still have Oliver Stone and De Palma still alive. Like, get them to go in there and talk about it.
Do anything for it. Like, the re-releasing of these things is getting so tired. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I will say, like, to at least put a little defense towards the metal sheet, that's a perfect type of thing to put with Scarface because of the merchandise that's coming. That makes sense to me. The Five Nights at Freddy one's kind of weird. I was like, I don't know, that doesn't scream 14-year-old boy in the 2000s like Scarface does.
While true,
yeah,
merchandising for Five Nights at Freddy's is crazy.
Yeah,
they have stuff everywhere.
I'm just out of touch with the children. It's fine.
I want to point out this hilarious comment from Jay Weber that says Scarface should come with a soundtrack on mini disc and call it the Say Hello to My Little Friend edition. That's awesome. Really good. Josh saying, difference with Scarface is that those other films you mentioned are owned by smaller labels who are probably being floated by catalog sales. Universal doesn't need that. For the most part, sure, but Universal's got plenty of titles that have literally never been released. So give us something. I mean, they've got stuff that deserves a 4K. Put it to that. You'll sell more of them. I guarantee it. So many people already have Scarface on 4K.
Hell, don't they also have some Alfred Hitchcock films? They're all getting 4Ks. Come on, push a weird one out there. Like, do something.
And yes, Ronnie, doesn't Five Nights at Freddy's mostly appeal to kids? Why is $75 release for that? Because they're trying to appeal to the parents who will buy it for their kids.
Or the kids who know how to sneak into their parents' credit card. That's how Fortnite has stayed successful. Don't do that, children. If there is somehow someone under the age of 25 in here, don't do that.
The joys of having an app store that you can't get refunds after 2 hours or whatever. Earlier, we were talking about Warner Brothers being a problem with not showing final art. This isn't Warner Brothers, but look at Universal doing the same thing to Casper.
Not final art.
Not final art. Anyways, September 15th, 4K release over in the UK. They are doing Casper. Now, we talked about Casper last week getting a 4K release. We know all of that, but they're going above and beyond over in the UK, just like we were just talking about. These special bonus editions, kind of like I just held up a Clueless, Casper is getting one. This is going to have all kinds of these little paper goodies if you want it. You got a rigid slipcase with new artwork, 2-disc gloss steelbook, 40-page book of previously unseen production notes, which kind of cool for Casper. You got a double-sided poster and art cards, individually numbered edition and exclusive to 2,000 units.
What is this? It's 30th anniversary, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess what are they doing? Like one of these a year? That'd actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because was Clueless 94 or 95?
Clueless was 94, I think. Maybe it was 95. Where'd I put it?
No, I'm curious. Somebody's
You
gonna
know,
get it in the comments for
it
95.
says 30th anniversary across the top.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Paramount doing 30th anniversary. We got Universal doing a 30th anniversary, and moving to our next one because it's exactly the same style. The Conjuring getting one of those fancy releases over in the UK from Warner Brothers now. This is going to come with the film in 4K and Blu-ray, a steelbook, rigid slipcase, double-sided theatrical poster, 5 double-sided character cards, 6 behind-the-scenes cards, 8-page Warren booklet, hide and clap game instructions, which I didn't know we needed instructions for that. And then this is the funniest thing to me, a sticker that is classified as the based on the true case files of the Warrens sticker. That's an interesting one.
This is something I'm curious about. How do you feel about art cards? I just don't want them.
I think they are mostly pointless. I do, however, have a little photo album that fits up to 5x7s that I use to put some in.
Yeah,
That way,
cool.
they're all in one place. You can look at them all together. But the reality is, I'm never going to touch them.
Yeah, because like even my Fallout steelbook I got, it came with art cards. They couldn't fit it inside the case, so it's just like taped outside the case. I was like, okay, thanks.
Right.
I'll lose these later, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of it. And this is where I really feel, and I talked to Craig about this. So, Craig, if you're still planning on doing this, I'm sorry for saying it publicly because now it might get stolen. I really wish, like, one of these boutiques that loves art cards or does very stylistic art card choices, like Deaf Crocodile, I wish they would release, like I just said, like I don't even know what we'd call it, like an album for an art card album that is branded. Give us one that says Deaf Crocodile on the outside, has your logo, and it's perfectly sized for the art cards that you do. And so every time we get them, we can put them in there and have all of them for all of your releases. That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, because I remember Second Sight used to do posters, and I actually like. I don't use the posters either, but they fit better. Like the art cards, I'm like, I just have 6 individual art cards that I don't know what to do with now.
Yeah, yeah. Craig says, I used to include postcards. They were actual postcards. You could actually use them to send them to someone. I did send one of yours to somebody, I think, Craig. I think it was a patron. Anyways, yeah, I wish a boutique would do that. I feel like it would make sense. If you're somebody that always releases art cards, just give us one give us an album. Make it something that we can buy that, it cost you $10 to manufacture and you sell it to everybody for $20. It would actually be useful.
Yeah, I would actually buy that, yeah.
Sasha says, I would still buy a branded art card binder. Been wanting to display mine in some way and not just keep them stashed inside the releases. Exactly. Let them breathe.
Craig, you need to do that for your trading cards.
Oh, that would
like
be
a little
fun.
binder.
Yeah.
Because I got mine all over the place. I need to like get them all together.
We're going to talk about The Conjuring a little more in a minute, which is why I didn't spend too much time on that one, but we'll come back, I promise. July 29th. The U.S. release of The Phoenician Scheme is happening. This is the new Wes Anderson release. It is coming on 4K from Universal. This is going to have Dolby Vision and HDR on this. We got a Dolby Atmos soundtrack. Behind the Phoenician Scheme featurette, there's a couple other featurettes like The Cast, The Airplane, Marseille Bob's, Zsa Zsa's World. But that's it. I love seeing all of the comments saying, oh, look, we're going to wait for the Criterion release. Sure, but when is that? Is it going to be like 2037?
I think that's like the annoying thing with the box set coming out. It's like, if Wes Anderson had said, hey, I'm retired, I'd be like, cool, that's a great idea for the box set. It's like he's retired.
I would have loved them all. I again, did you see this one?
No, I've given up on Wes Anderson about like 4 movies ago. I used to watch all of his stuff because when I first got into film, everyone's like, this is like the guy. I got into Criterion, so I had Moonshine Kingdom. And then I think I got to Isle of Dogs, and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? I don't like any of them. Like I just keep watching them. And so I haven't watched one since, so it's been a while.
Yeah, I saw this one in the theaters. It was fine. I'm the same as you. I've not loved anything Wes Anderson since Fantastic Mr. Fox, so we'll see. And yeah, Sibner's comment, the release of this is probably sooner since Indian Paintbrush bought Criterion. That's quite likely. I can't argue with that. It's just odd that they're releasing it widely first. Just make your money. If your company owns it, put it out on Criterion only. Same people are going to buy it. Oh, look at that. Sasha just said exactly what I just said. With you on Wes Anderson, Zach. Haven't liked anything since Mr. Fox.
Okay, good. So usually I get more pushback on Wes Anderson. So that's
Nope.
good.
I'm not a worshiper, I promise. The Accountant 2 came out this year, and the crowd went mild. This is coming on 4K on August 12th. Of course, they'll have a regular Blu-ray release. They'll probably get a DVD release as well. No extras on this at all.
Shocker.
I'm sure you did not see The Accountant 2. Did you
I
see
did.
The Accountant? Oh, you did?
I like the first one, and I actually like this one quite a bit.
Excuse me, I'll be leaving for getting it wrong. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, I'm a big fan of John Berthal, so I was into it. He's in it more than the first one.
Interesting. Yeah, I quite enjoyed the first one. I
Yeah.
don't know why. It was a good time. Craig says no digital airbrushing on those faces at all. I want to know what in the hell they did to give Ben Affleck, like, I don't know, like some crazy like John Goodman chin or something.
Do you remember when Interstellar came out with that terrible steelbook, and everyone's like, "What happened to Matthew McConaughey's face?"
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty bad. The Accountant had as much silly backstory as an entire trilogy in one movie, says Jay Weber.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Batman versus the Punisher. That's what I was there for.
And Sasha says The Accountant isn't really a name that screams action, but it sounds like these are fun movies. How would you describe the first Accountant movie?
Fun is a weird word.
Yes.
They're competently made. They're definitely in that post John Wick got big, but they're a lot more grounded than John Wick is. Ben Affleck's really good in it, surprisingly. He seems to take the part pretty seriously, and it really could have ended badly, depending on how he portrayed the character. So, I mean, I think they're worth watching. They're not top 10 action of the decade or anything, but they're good.
I had somebody before I saw the first one said this movie is basically what if John Wick but autism.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And that is not meant as a slight on autism.
No.
That's literally a discussion point in the film.
Yeah, and and honestly, the second one, I think I haven't seen the first one since it came out. I've literally seen both of these in theaters, and that's it. So I feel like they go more into it with the second one than they did the first one, especially because it's got like more of a familial aspect to it. So it was enjoyable. I had a good time.
I'll watch this. It's definitely a try before I blind buy it on 4K sort of situation. But I really enjoyed the first one. We talked about this one a long time ago. I think this was announced like last year. Let's not spend a lot of time on it, but I'll ask your opinion on the movie. July 21st. Cape Light, who operates kind of everywhere in the world, which is a really hard thing to nail down sometimes. They are working with Altitude Film in the UK to release Capote from 2005 in a media book edition. There's nothing new on here. It's just a 2-disc release with all of the same features as before. It's going to have 24-page illustrated booklet in it. How do you feel about Capote?
Never seen it.
Never seen it.
Nope, never seen it.
This, I got to admit, does seem like a movie that Zach would like.
Okay, then I will watch it. I will definitely. Let me add it to my watch list right now.
Hoffman is incredible, obviously, in everything, but this is one that everybody should see. It's a good movie, and it deals with subject matter that you would appreciate for sure.
Okay, cool. Oh, in Cold Blood. I've read that book. Funny enough, so I don't know why I didn't put that together. Yeah.
And Sasha says, "Ooh, I'm so down for an autistic action movie." We talked about this title last week as well, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but I finally got the details. September 9th, we are getting a 4K steelbook of the anime version of The Girl Who Leapt Through Time from 2006. This is coming from Shout and G-Kids. As far as I can tell, so far, not labeled as an Amazon exclusive, but I can't find a listing for this anywhere else. They might have popped up since I posted this, but at the time, at least, this was not on the Shout website, not anywhere else. And everywhere that they're selling this site, it is only Blu-ray. So I feel like this is going to be an Amazon exclusive for this format, even. Although knowing Shout, they'll probably release this on their website in like 6 months, and you can get it everywhere then. So
didn't they have like an exclusive on another one of theirs, like last year or something? I feel like they've done that before. but I'm not into this enough to like know what if that's true.
The format or just the Steelbook itself?
The Steelbook being exclusive to something.
Oh, they do exclusive Steelbooks all the damn time.
Okay,
They did Best Buy exclusive. They've done Walmart exclusives. They've now been starting to do Amazon exclusives. But the hilarious thing is, literally 6 or 8 months later, they show up as a wide release everywhere else and on their site through their distributor. So
gotcha.
And then a reminder for anybody who likes the story of The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, the original Obayashi film, The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, is getting a release from Cult Epics here soon, and be on the lookout from that. Look at that. Connor Holt is at VHS Fest in Pennsylvania. I'm stoked for that, Connor. I hope you're having a good time. Connor's going to be writing about that for the next issue of the Physical Media Advocate. Awesome. Cannot wait. The next one, oh my God, have I heard this movie is atrocious. August 11th, the UK is getting a Blu-ray release of The Ritual from last year. Yes, this is The Ritual starring Al Pacino and Dan Stevens, the two people that I always think of teaming up in an exorcism movie.
I want to know how they did it. Like, honestly, I want to behind the scenes of how they convinced them to do this movie. Like, that would be way more.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean, it would take a lot, I feel like, at least for something.
Yeah, I've heard this is bad. I would love to hear what everybody thinks in the chat. But yeah, this, I don't know. Ashley Greene is intriguing that she's in this, but I don't know. I don't know how excited I would be to see this.
You know, I've always thought this idea was interesting because it comes into a lot with like exorcism movies. But somebody brought up one time, I wish I could remember who it was so I could credit them properly because it's not my idea, that The Exorcist was so good that no other movie could do an exorcism movie properly somehow. Like, you don't see that with anything else. But for some reason, if you see an exorcism movie, there's a 99% chance it's garbage.
And it's so weird because it should be fairly easy. And the hard part, like, I am this close to saying sure, but what about the what's it called, The Last Exorcism? I love that movie, and then I don't know about you, but for me, the last 90 seconds negate that entire film.
Well, and the only other one I would say is up there with like The Exorcist. I mean, I guess we can count Exorcist 3, even though originally there's not supposed to be an exorcism in that movie, but whatever. Still a great movie. And The Exorcism of Emily Rose. And that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's decent.
Yeah, and then Pope's Exorcist, which didn't do, like, just went weird with it, which I appreciated. But that's like it that I can think of.
Yep. Yeah, and look at that. Jay Weber says The Last Exorcism. It does rock. It's great. I want to turn it off 3 minutes before the ending. I just wish they'd filmed an alternate ending and we could.
I wish they just had the balls to do what they set up.
Yes,
that's all I wanted.
Yes. And totally agree with Sibner. Please stop making the T in a title a cross and or putting a crucifix upside down. It's the same thing. Yeah, I agree. The next title from Severin. This is coming on Blu-ray as part of their summer sale, which I don't think I mentioned this on the last title. It starts on July 25th, so we'll be talking about that as this goes live on the Reconnected for that night. They're putting out Monster Shark, a.k.a. Devilfish, by Lamberto Bava from 1984. This is a title that people have kind of wanted for quite some time. This is the European version of the movie, scanned from the original camera negative, and it will include a bonus soundtrack CD. There's an audio commentary with Steven Scarlatta, Josh Miller, and Matt Mercer on here. They call him John Old Jr. There's a discussion with Lamberto Bava, interview with the actor Michael Sapkew, trailer, soundtrack CD. I definitely want this eventually because I love shark movies, but I definitely will be waiting for an actual sale on the new title.
That looks like something I'd buy at a Severin sale for $7.99.
Yeah, I mean, I'd spend a little bit more on it, but
yeah, it's usually when I get those. It's like
I probably would not be happy. Yeah, I would definitely want to see this one. Lamberto Bava is pretty fun for the most part. He's not the best, but fun.
You know what you're getting.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of you know what you're getting, a lot of people don't know what they're getting here because this has been so hard to see for so long. It is finally happening. September 16th, 4K, Blu-ray, and funny enough, Kino is putting out a DVD release of Night of the Juggler from 1980. We had talked about this when it got announced, but oh my gosh, here it is. 4K scan of the OCN, new HDR Dolby Vision Master, brand new commentary with Steve Mitchell and Nathaniel Thompson. And usually that's enough for Kino, but Night of the Juggler is a big deal. So did they stop there? They did not. There's a new interview with James Brolin, new interview with Julie Carmen. There is an inquest into Sidney J. Fury's Night of the Juggler. For those that don't know, Sidney J. Fury was somebody that was supposed to be... am I getting this right? Let's see. Before I say that, yeah, Sidney J. Fury directed. This was all filmed in order. He directed like the first 10, 15 minutes, something like that, and then got pulled from the project and was replaced by Robert Butler. So the Sidney J. Fury expert, Mr. Daniel Kramer, did this visual essay on here talking about Sidney's contributions to the film, talk about that, highlight some of his scenes. This is really freaking cool that we're finally getting this.
You know, I think it's really cool that they went out and got all those extra interviews, but they really should have saved their money and did a metal poster.
A $75 release from Kino. Yeah. I get it.
No, that's really cool. I'm going to watch it. I have never seen this. I don't think it seems like a lot of people haven't, so I'll watch it. Seems interesting.
Josh says, let's do a Night of the Juggler and Salute of the Jugger double feature now that Umbrella is released in that one. Yeah, Umbrella announced that one last month.
Wonderful.
So yeah, this is exciting, and it's obviously a big deal for Kino because this movie has not had a disc release ever. So this is a really big deal. They're even doing a theatrical rollout for this film. So check Kino's social media if it's playing anywhere near you. This would be really fun to experience in the theater for sure. Next up, we have talked about this before, but we finally got art and a release date. Karate Kid's Legends is coming out on 4K and Blu-ray and DVD, all on August 26th. This is the 4K Steelbook art. It is also coming out as part of that giant 6-movie Amazon exclusive collection. That's very expensive. I think to pre-order that on Amazon is like $225 or something for 6 movies.
There have been 6 Karate Kid movies.
There have been 6 Karate Kid movies, and at least one of them has Jaden Smith in it.
Wow. That's I'd rather get the remake for Nightmare on Elm Street on that WB release that's not official. Give me the AI art for it, too.
Yeah, I supposedly this movie is atrocious. It's basically just the Karate Kid again.
I literally heard no one say a comment about it. Like, not a single human being has mentioned this movie to me.
Corinne wanted to shout out a good exorcism movie, Requiem from 2006. I have not seen that.
I have not either, but I'm going to add it.
Huh. Weber says, I wish people wanted to subsidize my retirement like they want to subsidize Ralph Macchio. Oh, that's such a good comment. Oh, that's perfect. All right, go to our next one because that's way too much time already on Karate Kid's Legends. Radiance announced some titles this month. Coming on Blu-ray on October 13th. This is a UK-only release. We got the film Pocket Money by Francois Truffaut from 1976 with art done by friend of the channel Sam Smith, which I love the design on this. Feels very Truffaut, nice and colorful. Love the purples here. Truffaut is great. This one, HD digital transfer. We've got on-set footage with Truffaut and the cast, interview with the director Truffaut from 75, interview with the curator Sonil Joshi from 2025, trailer commentary by the filmmaker Alan Arkush. We got French and U.S. trailers. We've got a limited edition booklet with Truffaut's written introduction to the film, and you can pick that up with limited to 3,000 copies. Next Radiance is the title I freaking love. Daughters of Darkness from 1971, getting a 4K release from Radiance. Blue Underground did the 4K in the US, so this is UK only. This will also have a standalone Blu-ray release. Now, the cool thing is I have loved all of Radiance's deluxe hardbox releases that they do, and this is one of them. The art on here, I think, leaves a little bit to be desired because it's not really... shining a light on the beauty of the women in this movie as much as they could be. This beauty is sumptuous, and the art on this it's good. It's just not, I don't know, not quite to the level that it could have been.
I will say for anyone who's interested in it, it's probably one of my favorite 4Ks I've ever had. It's a gorgeous movie. Really is.
It looks incredible. Very atmospheric movie. just beyond great. This is the same restoration as the Blue Underground, so you can be willing to bet that it's going to be great. This has Dolby Vision HDR, and we'll also have a Blu-ray presentation of the movie. We got a bunch of new features here, though. That is really cool. We got a commentary with the authors Virginie Slavi and Lindsay Hallam. New interview with the director, Harry Kumel, by the critic Ann Bilson. Some archival extras. We've got on-set footage with the director, behind-the-scenes footage, an interview with Kim Newman discussing the film, The Daughters of Darkness, Class Cruelty, and the Cinematic Legacy of Bathory, visual essay by Kat Ellinger. We got a short film that is 5 minutes long by the director. We've got another short film from 1960 that's 7 minutes long, and then an 80-page book on this with a bunch of new writing. I've already got the Blue Underground. I don't necessarily need this, but the new extras are very close to making me want this.
Yeah, I'm tempted to pick it up. And I mean, I actually think it's going to be one of those artworks that I could see looking better in hand than it does.
Yeah, but like Corinne says it right here. I love this. Bobblehead on some toddler shoulders. I hate the art so much.
Yeah, that's honestly the biggest problem with it, because I like.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's one of the times you could float her head and it might actually be better.
Yeah, and this is what I'm getting at. Gary says it doesn't even look like Delphine.
Yeah, that's true too.
The I don't know, the imagery in this movie is what is iconic, and to fumble that big head is, I don't know, that's a problem on the cover.
Though I've said this, and if I've been on 11 shows, I've probably said this in 7 of them. If they want a good 4K of a movie that has not got a vampire movie that hasn't got a 4K release, they could do Velvet Vampire, and I would be much happier.
I would love somebody to do Velvet Vampire. That movie is great.
It's a gorgeous looking movie. Like it's a shame. Somebody should release it.
I agree. Next from Radiance, this is a UK release coming on October 13th and a North American release coming on October 14th. This is a Blu-ray of the same director who did Daughters of Darkness. This is, I'm probably going to butcher this again. Don't know French. Malpertuis. That's my guess. I don't know. That being said,
much better.
I've not seen the movie. The art on this is pretty great. I really hope this is evocative for the film. I think this is really good. Again, I mentioned earlier, I love Radiance's art. I love this one. This is an interesting sort of release. We got a new 4K restoration of the film overseen by the director, commentary by the director and the AD on this as well from 2005. New interview with the director, new interview with Jonathan Rigby. We got an archival doc on the making of the movie with the director, some actors. Orson Welles has a piece in this movie, and there's a featurette on the casting of Welles, including rare outtakes from 2005. There's a bunch of other archival extras. Looks like a really solid release. Again, all kinds of stuff. There's also the Cannes cut of the movie, the rejected version of the film, which premiered in Cannes. There's an early film from the director as well called The Warden of the Tomb from 1965 that's almost 40 minutes long. Again, 80-page book, and it's all coming in a hard box. This is a crazy release for this movie.
I mean, I'm probably gonna at least look up the movie because I've only ever seen Daughters of Darkness, so
same.
Yeah, so that would be really worth seeing what else he's done.
Yeah, this looks great, and if it's anything like the artistic direction behind Daughters of Darkness, I will love this movie. And then finally, I believe this is the last Radiance release. October 13th in the UK and October 14th in North America, a Blu-ray box set, Dai Gothic Volume 2, Japanese Ghost Stories. Did you get the first one or watch any of those?
No, I have really held strong on not getting Radiance releases yet.
At all? Crazy.
Yeah, I've almost got Miami Blues because I love that one. I actually feel like I'm in a good spot to get them because now I don't care anything about getting like the limited editions because I've missed so many of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now I can just like feel okay getting standard editions and it won't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, so the if you wanted to get the first version of the Diagothic box set secondhand now, it's like $120 plus, unfortunately. But you can get standard editions of each of the films from Radiance, thankfully. The first one is a great box, really great films. This one has Demon of Mount Oe, The Haunted Castle, and I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, The Ghost of Kasane Swamp.
Sounds right.
These are all from 1960 to 1970, all newly restored in 4K. Lots of stuff here. We got a newly designed box and booklet with artwork by Time Tomorrow. 80-page booklet. There are extras on every release, including new interviews, some archival entries. Like, this is really fun stuff. I truly love what Radiance is doing.
Yeah, one day I will finally cave, and I'll get one because I always like looking at their releases. Adam speaks highly of them.
I love Aaron's comment here. It's really humbling to really want to watch a release, fail to watch it, and then volume 2 of that release comes out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, Adam from They Live by Film loves Radiance. They're pretty much his favorite label, right?
Yeah, I think he's still complete on them as of right now.
I mean, their slate has been largely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting title.
The next title for the Severance sale, Blu-ray of Skinheads from 1993. This is by director Claudio Fragasso, which, if you've been paying attention to Severin for the last 10 years, you've heard that name quite a few times. This has a feature-length documentary with the director, with the co-writer, with some actors, and a whole bunch of other people involved in that. That, other than a trailer, is the only thing on this disc, but it's a full-length, in-depth documentary, so that's pretty cool. I have not seen this, but I've heard this is pretty good, and very curious to check this out. A movie called Skinheads by Claudio Fragasso sounds like a lot of things are going to go wrong.
Hopefully. What else would you watch it?
On that note, going to our next one, Bring Her Back from this year is getting a 4K and Blu-ray release from A24. These are shipping in August. You can buy them from their website now. Now, I don't know this for sure because it hasn't been revealed yet, but A24 has been releasing all of their titles over the last year or so through retail widely. So you'll probably be able to pick this up from Orbit, from Diabolic, from Brother Belial, from Target, from Walmart, at Barnes & Noble, all kinds of places, which is great. I'm glad they're doing it and putting actual distribution behind the titles. It gets a lot of people to be able to purchase these because shipping internationally from their website is astronomically expensive. This one has a director commentary with the Philippou brothers. We've got a featurette called Coming Full Circle, making Bring Her Back. And then, as usual, they are putting postcards in their box sets like they always do. You got 6 of them. Bring Her Back. Did you get to see this one?
I did. It is excellent. It is very, very good.
I am so glad that you like this.
Yeah, I did. And I've had a couple of different A24 ones. I wish they had done all of them in this style because I like it way better than the oversized Green Knight and Midsummer. I have those too, and I like them, but it's like they're kind of cumbersome.
Yeah. By the way, Josh Hurtado is the one that wrote one of the essays for Green Room, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Excellent
Josh's essay is excellent as well. The movie is incredible, but Josh, great job on the essay. Sasha says, love the fucking shit out of this movie. Me too. I think this movie is incredible. Love that they're going with this artwork. This poster has been evocative the entire time. So very happy with that. Yeah, this movie is not an easy watch. It's a very depressing movie. Very different from Talk to Me. But I will shout out one thing that I said about Talk to Me is exactly the same here for Bring Her Back. The sound design in this movie is next level. If you've got a really great sound set up at home, this movie is going to shine in that way.
Yeah, I will. I like this. I like Talk to Me, but I actually like Bring Her Back more just because where I work with kids for a living, I really thought they nailed like kids in foster care that I've worked with very, very well.
I agree there. We got a question from Corinne. Will there be an announcement every day from Severin until the sale? Yes, except for on the weekends. They will do one every single day around the same time, Monday through Friday. They're going to have 10 new titles that they're announcing before the sale. And then they've also revealed that there will be 4 4K upgrades during the sale that are going to show up later that are not included in those 10. So actually, a ton here, 14 new releases for Severin if you count the upgrades. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot. Let's see. Sally Hawkins deserves an Oscar nom and won't get one. Absolutely true. Yeah, she is crazy good in this movie. All right, so let's bring her back. Just announced today. The next Severin title is Dead Sleep from 1990. This is the worldwide Blu-ray premiere of Linda Blair starring in Dead Sleep. This is based on a true crime story out of, I believe, New Zealand, if I remember right. In Australia, sorry. Out of Australia, about the real-life Chelmsford hospital horror that led to 24 deaths and stunned 80s Australia and rocked the world of mental health care forever. This movie is going to have an interview with Janet Fife Yemens, co-author of Deep Sleep, Harry Bailey and the Scandal of Chelmsford, and a visual essay on this on the medical melodrama subgenre. What's hilarious is it is not on the medical melodrama subgenre. They definitely screwed up the copy here because this visual essay was written by Bud Wilkins from Slant Magazine, directed by my buddy Dr. Will Dotson, and edited by myself, and the visual essay is really fun. This movie is wild. It's not like an extreme movie or anything like that, but the fact that it's based on a true story and the stuff that they get into on the extras here, I personally think this one's worth a watch. I like true crime stuff, though, and mental health is sort of my background entirely. This movie is worth a watch, in my opinion. And a lot of people upset Linda Blair's not on the disc. She doesn't care about her movies. She questions why people watch The Exorcist still. So she was never going to talk about Dead Fucking Sleep from 1990. Come on.
Honestly, like if you didn't talk about The Exorcist at all in your life, and then suddenly you just talk about Dead Sleep, I would respect the hell out of that.
Yeah,
it's like the one movie you'll talk about. Like, yeah, Dead Sleep.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. So she's like, this changed my life. This was everything. Oh, look at that! Danny filmed the interview for the extras. I thought it was filmed very well. The editing was not great, but I did not have fun editing that. She was a talker. Thanks, Corinne. Appreciate that. Jack says, I keep hoping Severin does a 4K upgrade of Beyond the Darkness. I kind of expect that to happen eventually because that's like a quintessential Severin title. So I bet that does happen someday soon. And once a week, I got to click on the wrong thing. Next up, kind of an odd release with one of, in my opinion, the worst pieces of art for the week. Battleship Potemkin, which is celebrating its 100-year anniversary, is getting a 100-year release from BFI over in the UK on September 5th. This is going to have a score by the Pet Shop Boys on this. Yeah. You got the Pet Boys soundtrack on CD coming with this. No new extras as far as I can tell, other than a trailer going with the music and stuff. Yeah, it's a 100-year-old movie with the Pet Shop Boys. Yeah, the cover art on this is weird.
It's a choice.
It's very much a choice, but it's authentic. Don't tell WB. Speaking of WB, we got some details on The Conjuring, which we didn't have the first time I posted that deluxe edition. So all of the 4K releases of The Conjuring that are about to be coming out are going to include a new featurette called Scariest of Them All. The cast and creators of The Conjuring take a look back at some of the greatest scares of the series, uncovering what made these films so iconic. And then new reflections on The Conjuring. More than a decade after the release of the original movie, the cast and crew of The Conjuring reflect on their experiences, creating one of the most legendary horror series in history. Everything else is archival, but we actually are getting new extras for The Conjuring, which kind of cool.
I have a question. Is that one where it explores what made the series so iconic? Is it like 4 seconds while they just say James Wan and it just cuts? we figured that out with the third one. It was James Wan.
Oh, that's funny. But no, they probably say more. That's funny. So yeah, that is The Conjuring. I'm glad that it's coming out.
I do wish. I know they probably, who put out the Steelbook years ago where it was the noose was embossed. It was like the famous poster.
I think that was Zavi.
That's actually a really great Steelbook. I wish they would just do that one again because I didn't. Get
I
my
agree.
hands on that one.
Yeah, the tree poster is iconic for that.
Yeah.
Movie. All right. Next, we got a few. These weren't even like announcements. I just found these on their website, so we know that these are coming soon. We're getting a Blu-ray release of The Strange Woman from 1946. This is coming as part of their limited edition line. This movie is by Edgar G. Ulmer. We got Douglas Sirk, Hedy Lamarr, George Sanders, all associated with it as well. This one will have a slipcover. It will be including a full color booklet inside as well with an essay, and it will have a commentary by Bernard M. Prokop. These are going to be limited. It'll be a pressed disc. That's all it'll have, though, is a booklet and a commentary. Not a lot more, but it'll look pretty good. Film Masters does good stuff on their releases, so I'm glad to see it coming. Next one up, one that I never thought would get an HD release. Tarzan of the Apes from 1918 is getting a Blu-ray release from Film Masters as part of their archive collection. It'll either have a 2K or 4K scan. There will not be any extras on there, but it will be including subtitles. And that's it. It'll be a press disc, just nothing crazy.
You know, in fairness to those, I usually would criticize that, but honestly, it's like we put the movie out. There's literally nothing else we can do.
And it's literally a 107-year-old movie.
Yeah, it's like this isn't Nosferatu. Take it and leave it. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally it. 107 years old, and we're getting an HD upgrade. That is impressive. Next one, same thing. This is coming from their archive collection, and it is Patterns from 1956. This is Van Heflin in Rod Serling's Patterns. Again, 2K or 4K scan, no extras, but it will have closed captions. One that a lot of people seem to be responding well to when I posted this today. It's when Fred Staples is recruited onto the board of a high-powered New York corporation, he finds his ethics and ambitions at odds. I kind of want to see this one. This looks pretty good.
It's Rod Sterling. I would watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anchor Bay, still around and putting stuff out. This is the, of course, new Anchor Bay. This is such an odd, on-the-nose title for a film. 2023's Young Blondes, Stalked and Murdered is getting a Blu-ray release on November 11th here in the U.S. This actually sounds pretty decent. Got good reviews at a Panic Fest here in Kansas City. I believe it was last year when it played.
Oh, it's a new movie. Oh, okay.
It is a new movie, yeah, 2023. It'll have a commentary on the disc. That's pretty much all that Anchor Bay is doing nowadays, sadly. Pulp, yes, Diabolic DVD does carry Film Masters usually. They don't necessarily restock them a lot, but yes, they do carry them. So Sasha wants to know what this is about. It says, in the sprawling shadows of Hollywood, young blonde, stalked and murdered, follows Stacy, a young aspiring actress, fighting to be seen in an industry that demands perfection and rarely offers it back. Every week she endures another series of auditions, another round of vague rejections. She's told her look isn't quite right, her hair isn't quite blonde enough, or worse, she's just forgettable. The roles she dreams of are elusive, and her grip on reality begins to fray. When word spreads of a mysterious serial killer preying on young blonde actresses, luring them in under the guise of casting calls, a strange shift occurs in Stacy's psyche. She doesn't just fear she might be next, she begins to crave it. The killer becomes an abstract figure of validation, the only one in Hollywood who sees young women like her and chooses them. The horror of the situation folds into Stacy's own emotional unraveling, creating a surreal tension between dread and desire. This actually sounds kind of decent, I gotta be honest.
And Adam Hersey has given it a seal of approval. He gave it 4 out of 5 when he saw it at Panic Fest.
Yeah, and it sounds decent. And if Adam is into it, I've liked pretty much everything Adam has been into.
Yeah.
I will say, Sibner says, skip it and watch Starry Eyes. I adore Starry Eyes.
Me too. Great movie.
Ragnar, we already talked about this. Night of the Living Dead is not sold out. Diabolic DVD is sold out of their allotment. It's a wide release. It'll be everywhere. You'll be all right.
Go bug your local Walmart and just like make them get it from the back because they take like 4 days to do that now.
Even though it's not coming out till August or not August, like October or something.
Just tell them you're taking a seat. You'll leave once they get it for you.
Yeah, it was one place. I don't even know how Diabolic got their pricing so quick. I'm very curious about that. I think this is the last announcement for the week. Dazzler Media over in the UK putting out The Glassworker from 2024, an animated movie that sounds really great. It says, in a picturesque seaside town rich in sand and tradition, Vincent, an apprentice glassblower, works alongside his pacifist father, Thomas, at their renowned workshop. Their serene world destabilizes when war looms and a strict army colonel and his violinist daughter, Elise, arrive. As Vincent and Elise forge a deep bond, conflicting family allegiances and patriotism test their love, forcing them to confront the brutality of war and the power of art. This looks like they have not got great U.S. Distribution for this film at all, but this is getting a 4K release in the UK, and I am so stoked that a current very modern, very unique sounding animated film is able to get a release like that. That is just exciting to me.
Yeah, and especially because it's easily the best animated film of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've read that somewhere. I don't know
Yeah,
where, but
that's what I heard.
and not only that, easily the best animated film of the year.
Yeah, like no competition here.
So that is it for this last week of announcements. Let's take a look at what's coming out next week. Flicker Alley's Champagne and Caviar 4 Comedies box set coming out. We got Shane on 4K from Kino, The Adventures of Antoine Doinel from Criterion coming on 4K, Frailty 4K from Lionsgate Limited showing up for everybody in the last couple days. Fury 4K getting its Steelbook release that's been upgraded to have Dolby Vision. The standard release of the 4K of that AI restoration bullcrap release of Wallace and Gromit. The complete Kraken collection is out there. Battle Beyond the Stars 4K from Shout. RoboCop 2 4K Steelbook from Shout. That weird cover. Ghoulies 3. Ghoulies Go to College getting its Lionsgate Limited release. The Surfer 4K Lionsgate Limited as well. Devil's Sword has been shipping from TerraVision as of the last couple days, which is great, finally. I've been dying to get that disc in hand. Rolls Royce Baby and Satanic Sisters, the first releases from Delirium Videos going out. For many people, they are arriving without slipcovers, so be prepared if you go crazy if they don't show up with slipcovers. Exclusive from Kino coming out next week, She Kills. Sands the Kalahari from Kino. We got Manifest, the complete series about to drop. That literally just went up for pre-order, so check that out. Children of Violent Rome, also shipping from TerraVision. Eager to see that movie in hand. Good Lord, people are not ready for that one either. Crumb Catcher from Arrow Video. The original Three Stooges and Stop Look and Laugh from Sony Pictures is coming out. First Love from VCI. The Actor, which I'm really wanting to see. I got to check that one out still. The Wild Parrots of Telegraph Hill from Kino. Kind of curious to see that. It looks really fun. Queens of Drama from Altered Innocence is one of my big picks for this week. Definitely eager to get that one in. And Black Tea from Cohen Media Group. Not a huge week, but we got some big stuff coming up in the following weeks. So anything that you're interested in getting here soon, sir?
I will probably end up with the Surfer. I really enjoyed that, and I like Frailty, so those would probably be my two choices.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting until I can get $100 and get free shipping from Lionsgate Limited for that next one. Yeah, solid looking week, and eager to see some of these. But now, I didn't even mention this beforehand. Our discussion tonight, we are having one that I've been eager to have since we decided on this topic for quite some time, because I really love this, and I don't know how I've not had this topic yet on this show. Tonight, we are discussing serial killer movies. Now, Zach, what makes a serial killer movie different from Scream or Halloween or something like that?
I was putting some thought into that because a lot of times it just I'd hate to put it down to a vibe because I don't think that's a good definition, but I do think there's like a distinct difference. I think there is like a nice little like Venn diagram that like goes really close together, but they never quite overlap. But they both obviously have a lot of similar things. You have someone stalking. I think there is a more overview look, like almost like an objective view when you're looking at these. Some of them are true crime, some of them are based on true crime, but they tend to lack a little bit of the intimacy maybe you get from slashers. I'd also say slashers are a lot more definable. They have so many tropes and so many beats that are just so well known. They're a lot easier to identify, where serial killer movies, I don't know, they're a little bit more free from that. So I would say those are kind of the big things for me, I would say, are different.
Would you say slashers are really easy, like to put on a list to share with everybody, and not?
I would say so.
Controversial said about them.
Yeah, I'd say they have enough beats to where you could make a list where they're all in common, and I think everybody would agree with that list if they read it.
For those that don't know the joke, the Discord has been hopping this week with all kinds of discussions. One of them about slashers. If you want to join the Discord, check out the Patreon link in the description below. We'd love to have you, because the discussion has been very busy over these last few days, and I am very, very curious to see if we have, because I'm willing to bet we're gonna have a lot of crossover here, because I know that we have kind of similar taste.
Yeah.
But I made a list of 14, so I've got a handful of honorable mentions. I got a list of top 10. We're going to go back and forth going through a ranked list, as usual, I'm going to try to say if one of us says the title and the other one has it higher on the list, let's wait for the discussion until the higher
Sure.
spot. So we'll tell the other one if we have it up higher. I have a feeling though, I'm going to piss some people off with my ranking. I've got stuff
Me too.
that lower or not on the list that people are gonna be like, What the hell?" Like, it's one of the best ones ever. It's just not my favorite. So, let's get started. What's your number 10?
All right. So I'm pretty sure I know what my number 10 is, but let me make sure I get it right. So number 10, I will start with 1997's Cure.
I'm already gonna piss some people off. All right,
Oh,
good.
wonderful. I'm
Tell us
excited.
about Cure because it is not higher on my list.
Okay. So Cure is one that I did not like the first time I watched it. I had to go back, and I think we talked about it on the podcast when our podcast was really bad. So don't go listen to that episode. I have no idea what I said during that episode, so I can't back any of it up. Cure is an interesting one for me because I think it's going to bookend really well with my number one, and I'm probably going to end up saying a lot of similar things. But the thing I like about it is there's a sense of mystery to it that doesn't necessarily have a clear answer. I think it goes a lot into like a morality idea, and it kind of explores the idea of randomness in a serial killer type of setting, and it almost has like this airiness of like supernaturalism to it, and I really appreciate that. I really need to get the Criterion 4K. I don't own this movie, but I do need to pick it up.
So Cure is not on my list. And what is hilarious is you just scared me into like, do I have to watch this again? Because I've only watched it once. I do not understand why Cure is so loved. I watched it and I walked away feeling like nothing. And the sad thing is, so much of Cure I thought was going to be my jam, and then it just didn't land. I really now I just was I having an off day, and it's actually me that was wrong.
I think there is a sense of that to where it is so sold, especially through Criterion audiences and things like that. It's a really good movie. It's really really good to me. But I can also see it having like weird expectations. Like I weirdly get it. Like I've heard people try to sell it, compare it to Seven. I was like, it's nothing like Seven. Seven's a
Yep.
whole different sort of thing. It has a surrealist nature to it, and I think the first time I watched it, I was like, I am not in the mood for this.
And
Like,
7 is like literal. It is telling you
yeah,
exactly what it's trying to tell you.
yeah, it's like yeah, they both have serial killers in it. It's about what they have in common.
Yeah. Anyways,
What's
a muted color palette, maybe.
yeah,
But
very different directors doing it, but yeah.
Yeah, quite different directors. Yeah, Cure, it was fine. I no, Wave, I don't think it's too subtle. I'm totally into subtle stuff, which you'll find out through some of the other stuff that I'm going to cover tonight. Although a lot of these are not. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, my list is very not subtle.
You can accuse me of not liking subtlety. I think it's for cowards.
I think it can be for sure. I get that. But yeah, Cure's fine. I need to rewatch it. Everybody else is probably right. 10 is hilarious because you just said it. I have 7 at 10. Is that higher on your list?
It's not on my list. I already knew I was gonna piss people off. Yeah.
Yep.
But I'll talk about it though. I have no
At
problem
number
with
10, we're pissing everybody off. So 7, obviously, is starring Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. By the way, I know everybody always goes back to Brad Pitt in this movie. I think this is Morgan Freeman's movie.
Yeah.
He is incredible in this film. Absolutely, like what grounds this movie and what makes it not only believable, but like substantive in a way. This is Fincher's movie from the mid 90s that people go back to because it's before he, got like a little more heady with everything else that he was doing after that. And yeah, 7 is great. Follows the 7 deadly sins. We got John Doe taking people out. You don't see the killer until very late in the movie, and then you find out it's a very famous, terrible person. And I think this movie's great. It's top 10 for a reason. I love this movie. I just think there are a lot better serial killer movies than this. And not that this movie like doesn't age well or anything, but it's just, I don't know, like true crime has become its own genre since 95 when this came out or whatever. And since then, the way that we discuss it and portray it has been changed. And so like the mystery factor here is really cool. I like it a lot. The ending, of course, is iconic. But this isn't even my favorite serial killer movie from Fincher.
I was about to
So
say the same thing. It's like Fincher did it better later. That's why.
right.
Like,
So we're gonna be talking about another Fincher's movies later on both of
yeah.
our lists. So yeah, seven's great. What do you think of 7?
Oh, I like 7, and it's one of those. It's this. Let me just go ahead and piss people off. It reminds me a lot like Taxi Driver, where I really like that movie. I think that movie's great, but it comes into the same issue where I think like Schrader has done that movie better since then, and I appreciate it. When I was first getting into film, I'm so glad I saw it, but you kind of get like you see how influential it is, and sometimes that's fine. Like I put Halloween as my favorite movie, and it super influenced the '80s. Even though things could arguably they did it better, or they did it more unique, or whatever after it was an old hat. But I think both of when you look at something like 7 and you see Fincher kind of go back to that later, and then you see Schrader go back to Taxi Driver later, that feels different. It feels like, okay, I can do that idea better, and they did successfully.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that entirely, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit, obviously. So number 9.
Number 9, I'm actually hoping you do not have this one on your list. I was really proud to put it on here. It is going to be Mr. Brooks.
It's one of my honorable mentions. I love this movie.
It's so good. It's so good. Okay,
So good.
Yes.
I love Kevin Costner, so yeah, it had to be here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so for anyone who hasn't seen it, because I saw this in theaters, like I was 13 when this movie came out, so I don't know why I was in the theater seeing it, but there's a specific scene in it that stood out to me. So for anyone who doesn't know what it's about, Kevin Costner plays like your Dennis Rader type of guy. He lives a pretty normal suburban life. On the side, he kills people because he has like basically a sexual gratification in it, sort of thing. But a cameraman who's played by, let me make sure, yes, Dane Cook, finds him doing this and says, either I'm going to turn you in or you're going to take me on one of these like serial killer things.
Yeah.
And so Kevin Costner reluctantly does. The only scene I remembered before I rewatched this last year, and this stood out to me in the theater, I can't tell you why, is when he takes Dane Cook to the killing and Cook pisses himself. I don't know why that got burned into my memory as a child. I don't know why, but every time I ever thought about Mr. Brooks, I thought about that scene. And I rewatched it last year, and I was like, this movie rocks.
It's so good. It's so underrated. Love that movie. Wild cast. I love that the two leads are who the two leads are. You would never expect either of them to be in those roles, and they both work so well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like I'm trying to think of another Kevin Costner movie where he really plays like the villain. Like hardcore. Maybe Yellowstone, like kinda.
I haven't seen Yellowstone, so I can't pitch in, but
Yeah.
I mean that makes sense. Yeah, I adore Kevin Costner, so yeah, this was like I technically rated 14 of them. This was my number 12, so it was
So it's
very
right
close.
there. Yeah.
Very close to getting onto the list. My number 9. Curious if you have this one. Man Bites Dog.
I do not have this one. I have seen it though. It's been a while.
So Man Bites Dog is a masterpiece from 1992 of a just crazy movie. This is a film out of Belgium that is a found footage movie that is essentially a mockumentary of a serial killer. This movie is set up to be like really darkly comedic in many of the scenes, and it's literally just a couple people following a guy killing people, and eventually they sort of get egged on and dragged into some of it, and the way that the dialogue just coming across as very cold and like nonchalant about the atrocities happening in front of them is shocking. There's one scene with an old lady that it was burned into my body forever. There is like this another scene in like this rubble broken down area that is just incredibly memorable. You like seeing the glee on somebody's face as they go through this is harrowing, and I really think one of the things that really sells this movie is the found footage aspect. It makes it feel so much more visceral, and when everybody talks about found footage as a medium itself and not as a genre, I think this is one of the films that absolutely proves that it is a necessary medium for certain films. Because if this was just filmed as like a stand-up camera, we're shooting from the corner of the room, this is not interesting. This is not something that you stare at for long. It is the feeling of voyeurism as you're going through these moments with this killer that really makes this movie stand out and be incredible.
Yeah, I've always said it very much goes with like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yes.
Which I think both have that same kind of feel to them. Of course, with like Henry, the difference is like this is outsiders watching, where Henry, it's himself. And I guess I can claim some Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer since he is from close to my hometown. Like he was just a couple counties over. So before he went to Texas.
Henry Portrait of a Neighbor.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. No, he's crazy dude. Very, very interesting dude. But yeah, Man Bites Dog's excellent. I have not seen it in a long time. It's one of those ones that's hard to revisit. Like I think about revisiting it, and then I'm like, yeah, no, I'm okay for now.
I thought the same for a long time, and then Imprint just released it on Blu-ray, and I went, well, okay, I'll revisit it. All right, that means number 8 for you.
Number 8. Actually, somebody up top mentioned it earlier. It's The House That Jack Built, Von Trier.
Guess what my number 8 is?
Is it The House That Jack Built?
It is.
We always have one that matches exactly.
I love this movie. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I have talked about this movie a lot. So just in case you want to hear me talk longer about this, me and Chris did Lars Van Trier last year, and this was the last one we ended up on, where I think we were exhausted at this point. Yeah. So yeah, that's right. Yeah, we were already exhausted by the time you got there.
Yeah, we could tell. And of course, we're talking about Nymphomaniac and The House That Jack Built.
It's like, all right, let's get this over. And I've been talking about Von Trier for a month. I was like, all right, I'm done. But no, House That Jack Built is excellent. If it ends up being the last thing Von Trier really does, if we don't count like his Return to the Kingdom, it's an excellent one for him to end on. I think, Matt Dillon playing this the movie. The thing I love about the movie is it has such a 70s look to it. Yes. Which I think is important in a lot of serial killer media, because at least in the US, the 70s was kind of the era for serial killers. You have Jeffrey Dahmer, you have Ted Bundy, Son of Sam, that sort of thing. You have all this stuff going on. So it feels like such a vital era for it. And I think he captures it really well. Even though it still kind of looks European, that's just Von Trier. So it's just going to look that way. But Dillon is so good in this movie. And it's still one of my favorite trailers. I remember when the trailer for this released, and I don't even know if I really knew who Von Trier was. I think at that point I'd seen Antichrist. And it's still one of my favorites. I think it captures the tone of the film so well. My girlfriend, who's never seen it, still loves the part because she's seen that trailer where he talks about, like, he's has the woman behind the car and all the blood is hitting the road, and then it rains, and he starts talking about God and stuff like that. And she thinks about that all the time. And I think that captures the tone well. Like, that shouldn't be funny, but what Von Trier's so good at is how funny the movie is. Like, you'll be disturbed for like good 5 minutes because of some crazy shit that just happened, and then you laugh. And I was like, I think that's what Von Trier does well.
Yeah, this is a movie that is hard for a lot of people to watch, but I also think everybody should probably watch this at least once. So I'm not going to spoil the I'll just say I'm not going to spoil the ending, because it is one of the most intense things that I'm going to talk about tonight. But this movie, I mean, there are so many scenes in this that are iconic imagery, that are disgusting to look at, that are truly deplorable acts of a terrible person. And then there are things like the whole Uma Thurman portion of this movie, which is hilarious and dark and just completely out of nowhere abrupt, where he just eviscerates her out of nowhere.
And the thing that's so funny to me, and I've talked a lot about Von Trier, about, there's people have a lot of opinions about him. He's a very provocative individual, but I give him a lot of credit for someone who's going to do a self-insert and make fun of himself for being pretentious. His self-insert is someone like Jack. And, it takes the accusations that he got for years and how people view him because of his disturbing stuff, and then actually kind of makes fun of himself. Yeah. And I think that's great. I think the movie pulls that off incredibly. I used to have an issue with which I won't spoil here. I used to have a problem with the final 30 minutes the first time I watched it. And now I think it's brilliant. I think the end of the movie is awesome.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece. I mean, even not really a spoiler because it's the poster of the film, I guess, but there's a whole scene dedicated to like a refrigerator type of segment,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
this whole thing that is so meticulous and OCD, like literal OCD, like I have to do things exactly a certain way. It comes into play in this film in many different ways, but the way that he approaches these things in this refrigerator and goes on his own personal journey, literally and figuratively, near the end of this movie, and you thinking, well, what just happened? Like,
Yeah.
what is the actual ending here? Like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Am I seeing what he's seeing? Is this real or not? There's so much that philosophically comes into play after this that I just love walking away from this movie and feeling like weirdly disgusting that you just watch this thing and go, well, shit, like that sucked in a way, because good lord, am I depressed now? But also, God, I have so many questions that I just want to sit and ponder and feel in my feelings about. Yeah, this to me is a masterpiece. This starts like everything else on my list from here up is damn near in my mind a perfect movie, literally.
Yeah, and with and the thing I think that also does really well is I think, you know, when I talk about that objective view when it comes to serial killer films, I think this is one that kind of breaks that idea, because like that part you talk about Uma Thurman, you almost feel vindicated when he like hits her in the face because you're so
Yep.
annoyed with her. You're
Yeah,
like,
she's
just hit her in the face.
awful. She's one of the most unlikable characters in cinema ever.
And
Ever.
you kinda, I think it almost makes you reflect that you have the same capability for violence.
Yeah, literally, yeah.
And it's
You
just
are human. You can do it.
a different thing. Yeah. Like Jack represents the worst part about yourself.
Yep. Yep. Great movie. Great movie. Well, we had the same number 8. So what's your number 7?
Number 7. So I think this is where I'm going to start getting some hot takes here. I have Strange Darling as my number
Oh,
7. Yes. I have seen this movie quite a few times now. I love the soundtrack. I love everything by Z Berg in that film is absolutely gorgeous. I think it's a great twist on it, and I'm not going to spoil the movie here, so no worries. The way they do the serial killer storyline, I think, is a lot of the deconstruction of how the assumptions you make when watching a film like that. I think it's beautifully shot. Ribisi did such a great job with
yeah.
his first time doing cinematography. I am someone who loves Kyle Gallner and Willa
Willa
Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald. Yeah.
Yeah, Willa Fitzgerald. I think they both do excellent in this movie. They have such a great chemistry. They play off each other well, and they play off the audience well, which I think is really where the brilliance of the film comes in. Is how brilliantly it plays off the audience and what their it's a the way I'll use the example of like The Simpsons. They have a joke format called "Screw the Audience," and I think either you're on board with that joke or you're not, and that's pretty much all Strange Darling is. Screw the audience.
Yep. You're on board or you're screwed.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love Strange Darling. I never would have thought of it for this. One of the things that I had to, and I don't know if you made this distinction, because I definitely did today, but I was trying to, in my mind, think of the difference between serial killers and like spree killers, because there are some people that like just go on one rampage and they'll kill 8 people in the span of one night, and that's crazy, but to me that feels like a different type of movie. So
That's actually one thing I want to bring. I'm glad you said that because it reminded me of a thought I was having. But yeah, like when we think of slasher movies, they are more mass murder. They're
yep.
mass murder movies. Like serial
Yep.
killers are slow. Like you might get one kill here and there.
Yeah, so this movie is definitely a weird one, but I totally see it. Kyle Gallner's great. I think J.T. Molnar penned a script on this that was brilliantly put together and really can only be watched this one way. Like, I really hope nobody ever goes and puts it in chapter order.
No, I don't think it needs to be. I mean,
No,
I could see it as a curiosity after you've seen it.
maybe.
But yeah.
This movie's stupendous. Ed Begley Jr. is hilarious for 48 seconds or whatever. This movie's just intense, and the big like surprise of this, Willa Fitzgerald did maybe like the best performance of the year for anybody, and got very little recognition.
Yeah, and I'm really excited for Molnar because he's writing The Long Walk that comes out this year. I think he's going to nail it. I think him and Lawrence are really going to nail that movie.
I'm sure you've seen the trailer already.
A few times. I actually get excited to see it because that's one of those. It's one of those books I actually never thought would get made.
Yep.
I was like, they won't do the movie. And I mean, obviously they made some changes because if we were going to do it book accurate, those kids would look younger. But I know a studio is not going to sign off on really young looking kids getting shot in the head. They just aren't going to do it. They're like, let's get them a little older. Let's make them like almost young adults. So we shoot them in the head.
Yeah, I think the trailer looks really good. I'm stoked. Yeah. I hope Molnar is very successful with it. He's great. Absolutely appreciate
Francis Lawrence back in horror. I'm all for. He's doing that. He's doing Constantine too. I'm sold. Like I'm happy for him.
Yeah. So my number 7, this takes a very, very different turn from the house that Jack built at number 8. I had to bring on Spike Lee's The Summer of Sam from 1999.
It has been on my list for years to see. So I want to hear you sell it to me because I've been wanting to watch it.
So Summer of Sam, this is one of those things. You said you didn't want to use the word. This to me is like the ultimate serial killer vibe movie because one of the reasons that this movie is so, pardon the pun here for those that have seen it, but like sticky after you've watched it is because it's literally a movie built around a single summer where people are mentally rampaged by what is happening, but also have this insane heat wave that is ruining it and making everybody already tense because of everything going on. And so Spike Lee's movies, you already see like dirt and grime and sweat on everything, but this is probably his sweatiest film ever. And I mean that in the literal way, but also like the people in this movie are so lived in. The characters in this, you could probably like guess what each of these characters are going to do in a normal day because you see everything about those characters, because Spike is a master of building great characters. And the cast here, oh my gosh, the cast in The Summer of Sam. So John Leguizamo, Adrian Brody being wild in this movie, Mira Sorvino, Jennifer Esposito, Michael Rispoli. You've got all kinds of character actors that show up in the background of some of these scenes. Bebe Neuwirth is in this, really great. This movie, though, is like the ultimate just the serial killer aspect being in a way like the B story plot to this overall film is what keeps this overall sense of dread in a way that only Spike, I feel like, could have done with this story. I think it's kind of a masterpiece. It's obviously nowhere near something like Malcolm X or Do the Right Thing in his filmography, but when you look at how he crafted the way that John Leguizamo is, it's just, I don't know. He's like very much a real person. You could say somebody just filmed this guy's week and put it on screen and you'd be like, yeah, this is essentially a documentary. And it's so lived in and real and authentically Spike that I had to list it here. Craig mentioned earlier, all this praise for the house that Jack built and it's only number 8. Yeah, Summer of Sam is a better movie. This movie is a stone cold masterpiece that gets slept on because it's fucking Spike Lee. And he's got 9 movies that are at least this good, which is insanity. This movie rules.
And I'm interested in that just because, like, I think doing a movie on Berkowitz is kind of a hard thing to do because we have so little, like, everybody knows that he heard the voices of the dog thing, but I mean, he pretty much more or less mentioned that, pretty much confirmed that was bullshit. I mean, he's just kind of he's hard to label. He's hard to like fully understand. So I almost feel like you have to do it in almost a documentary style to like, just like, look, this is who he is. Figure it out. Like, it's just who Son of Sam is.
Yeah, and it's worth the watch still in 2025. There's a pretty decent Kino Blue out there, but I really wish this is one. I know that I shit on Criterion a lot, but I hope this is one that a better boutique than Kino will give. Probably, I would be surprised if it got a 4K in a way because it's such a small Spike Lee movie. But again, it's Spike Lee. Like, I would love Criterion to give this a really great 4K and load it with supplements because this movie deserves it. There's so much behind the story for this that could be interesting and compelling and contextual that people would love learning about.
Yeah, I might put that in a short. I might watch that this week actually, since I haven't seen it. So you've convinced me.
Can't wait to see what you think.
All right, so this is gonna be my last like real well, I'm not gonna say my last unconventional. I have a couple hot takes later, but this is one where I guess some people might argue this may not fit, and the rest of them are pretty, definitely fit. I'm gonna go with Night of the Hunter, since we were talking about Criterion. just because it does focus quite a bit on Mitchum's character.
Yeah.
And you know, he's not a traditional serial killer in the say that he gets it, you know, for sexual pleasure or anything like that. He's more of a con man who's willing to you know, stab people.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those movies where if I can find an excuse to talk about it, I absolutely will. Just because this movie's gorgeous, and having like this serial killer story, con artist story, and this like fairy tale, I think fits so well. Especially with his performance, and it's bigger than life, and I think he kind of represents almost what I think media kind of portrays serial killers as sometimes versus reality, where you know they're not just complete weirdos with problems. You know, they're charming, or you know, they can sneak into your house
The
and
conniving.
yeah, like, and I think that's more of a media thing based on reality. Of course, we have Ted Bundy, but that's an exception more than a rule. Like, but yeah, that's night of so that was my number 6.
Number 6, Night of the Hunter. Yeah, this movie's great. Not on my list because it just didn't come to my mind as a serial killer movie offhand, but I definitely see it. This is a movie that I adore. This is another like 6 out of 5 star movie for me. Mitchum and Lawton are the perfect team up for this. He is intensely terrifying in multiple scenes of this movie, and the river scene I will never forget the first time I saw that shot, and just
One of my
like,
favorite of all time.
oh god, sort of feeling about it. So yeah, love this movie. It's a masterpiece. And yes, as Stan is saying, the current issue of the Physical Media Advocate has an article by film blogger Sam, other YouTuber, in the newest issue about Night of the Hunter. So check it out.
Excellent. I'll be looking forward to reading that.
My number 6 is the first Korean film on my list tonight, and that is 2010's I Saw the Devil.
Mine's up higher.
All right, we'll come to it later then.
Yep.
Number 5.
Okay, so my number 5 is Memories of Murder.
Mine's up higher.
Okay, so let's.
My number 5. I hope that you don't. I feel like you're about to say it's up higher. Silence of the Lambs.
It's up higher.
Okay.
Thought you get a little basic after that for me. So my number 4 is I Saw the Devil. So we can talk about that one.
Talk about it. Tell us about I Saw the Devil, Zach.
I Saw the Devil is a really more of a revenge film, but essentially it tells the story of a guy. This woman is killed horribly by the serial killer in South Korea, and guy's a detective, finds his fiance. It's his fiance, I believe. I don't think they're married yet. I think it's his fiance. It finds she's horribly murdered, and instead of just like taking your normal revenge where he just shoots the guy and John Wick styles that, he decides he's going to keep torturing him and letting him go time after time after time after time. Yep. And this movie gets wild. Like by the end of this movie, it really puts this perspective into the idea of, you know, becoming the monster, that sort of thing, you know, becoming what you're really hunting sort of thing, which I mean, sure we've seen, but I don't know if it's ever been done quite like this. I think there's a lot of uniqueness in I Saw the Devil because of that.
Yeah, there is. I think there was print marketing around this movie, if I remember right, that said like abandon your compassion or abandon all compassion or something like that. And before I even saw the movie, I went, oh, this is going to be a heavy one. And somehow it was so much heavier than that. Like this is, this is a movie where an agent is literally forced to essentially become the person that he's hunting. And that's kind of cliche and tropey, but it's so different because this guy is clearly benevolent in so many different ways that he is just beyond enraged with this person that he's chasing that he loses himself in this process. And the absolute horror that we see in response to some of these situations is crazy. There are lots of people that say they can never watch this movie again. I think the acting in this is one of the best, which I said this is the first Korean film. One of the best Korean films that you can see literally from the 21st century, like as far as acting goes, because it is so well done. Like pretty much everybody, it's not the best, but I think it's really, really great compared to lots of others. For those that have not seen it, you should absolutely make I Saw the Devil a point that you go to watch it.
And I really, really hope Magnet on OCN puts this out. I would be thrilled with that.
Puts it out with new extras. Give us a
Yeah.
booklet. Give it a UHD. This movie deserves all the love that you can pour on it because, goddamn, this movie is incredible.
I assume Magnet still holds this one. I haven't seen anyone else ever put it out.
Yeah,
So,
probably that, or I mean, I don't see why they would necessarily, but Umbrella has released a lot of Korean stuff. If they did a special edition of this one, I would buy the giant box. Like, give me everything you possibly could for this film.
And honestly, it's hard to say. I would at least argue it might be the best looking film on this list. Like, it is a gorgeous looking movie. It would look great on 4K. And that's hard because there's some really good looking stuff here, but at least I think it's in the conversation.
Yeah, it absolutely would be. Yeah, this is a great movie. This is I Saw the Devil, Craig, asking which movie in the chat. 2010 South Korean film. It's incredible. So we skipped a couple. That was your number 4, right?
Yes.
So my number 4, we're going to be catching up for those that didn't hear those. We're going to be catching up on some of those later. My number 4, if it's higher than yours, let me know. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Not on my list. So
okay.
You're good. You're good.
So this movie, it probably is more of a nostalgia pick for me because I saw this one quite early in like my discovering classic horror that I've missed. And this is a movie that just, I don't know. I felt disgusting watching this movie. There's one scene in particular that everybody always references, and it's this one bedroom scene. And when you're watching the stuff leading up to that moment, see, Josh says Umbrella already released I Saw the Devil. Not in, I don't know. There was not quite enough there to compel me to want the better release of that one. I wanted better. And Umbrella's upgraded a couple things. I would love to see a better release of that. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's about literally a guy that gets out of prison. He goes back to his friend's apartment, meets up with a guy and his girlfriend that are living there, and they start doing some bad things together, and the guy loses his shit and starts killing people. And you just kind of go along on this journey, and it's just like real. It's just watching madness unfold in front of you that has always hit me harder with this. And I don't know. This movie feels extra disgusting in a way that I still feel to this day. It's just not something that gets enough sort of credit anymore. I feel like a lot of people look down on this movie, probably because of the time that it came out, because it's kind of the forefather of a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want something. I want this to get its flowers in the way because it paved the way for a lot of these movies.
I think part of the reason this could be wrong, but this is kind of my theory of why Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer had such a hard time. So it came out in '86, right?
Yeah, something right around there. Yeah.
Yeah, '86. So this is only 5 years after Adam Walsh, of course, goes missing and is found dead. For anyone who doesn't know the connection, the person that Henry Lee Lucas was traveling with as the Drifter Killer was Otis O'Toole, who was confirmed to have kidnapped Adam Walsh. And while we have Adam alerts and things like that for missing children. So this was very soon after that. And this is right around when what show did his dad do? America's
Most Wanted, yeah.
Yeah, so this is right when that's becoming big and things like that. So I almost wonder if people watched it and was like, okay, this is almost a little tasteless.
Yeah,
to do it, and I think looking back on it, it needed to be. It is a tasteless movie on purpose in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I don't know. It's not like a shock movie, like Faces of Death type of shock movie, but it is definitely one that is like, we want you to feel bad about this. We want you to walk away definitely feeling negative and not, this is not meant to be sympathetic towards Henry or anything like that. It is meant to be gross and disgusting and authentic. And again, like I've said the words like 3 times already, but that one specific bedroom scene is so under your skin, greasy. Like, man, they really put this on film, and I'm watching it. Like, why am I getting enjoyment out of watching this? That it makes you question that. And it's just such a good movie. And I can't believe we got a 4K of it from Arrow in like this wonderful release. It's crazy that we're at that point. But this to me, I felt like it had to be on my list. I saw this so early. It is it's in the name, literally, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably one of the better representations. Like, the problem that you have, like, it kind of reminds me of that quote. I can't remember who said it. Someone in the comments will probably correct can tell me, but it always reminds me of a quote that was like, "All anti-war films turn around and become pro-war films," and I think
Right.
serial killer movies can have that problem too, to where we
Yeah.
want to explore, but sometimes we inadvertently by accident cause it to almost glamorize. And I actually think Henry Portrait of the Serial Killer does a great job of not doing that. Like, you don't feel no matter how much time you spend with Henry Lee Lucas, you don't feel sorry for him. And I think that's something that's necessary.
Yeah, completely agree there. I don't know. It is so worth a watch. This is one that can be hard to recommend to people, but if you're feeling comfortable with having a bummer of a night, you should absolutely watch it. All right, number 3 for you, sir.
Oh yeah, so we can now talk about The Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs, a perfect film. Tell us about Silence.
So for anyone who somehow has not seen Silence of the Lambs, it tells the story of a serial killer that goes around and essentially is trying to make a woman suit. And they use the help of local serial killer and cannibal, Hannibal Lecter. And it really just tells the story of how the FBI agent Clarice Sterling is dealing with having to have like any type of relationship with him, as he reads her and who she is as a person, and she has to do the same thing to him. It's actually, to me, one of those movies where it feels like it's going to end up like Taxi Driver or Seven to it, like a degree where you're like, yeah, this is a great introduction movie, and it's still a great movie on its own, but things have done it better. There's very few things that have done it better than Silence of the Lambs. That movie is excellent, and just you'll go back. Like, I remember going back and watching it after 10 years, and I was kind of prepared to be disappointed by it, and I was like, no, this movie's awesome, like everything about it. And it's technically a sequel to Manhunter, which I don't know if we're going to get that on here. I don't think so. Of course, they will remake the sequel to Manhunter again later in a much worse way, but yeah, absolutely phenomenal movie. I don't know if there's a whole lot I can add to it, just because in 35 years, I think everything about it has been said.
Not necessarily a sequel to Manhunter, another adaptation of a Thomas Harris that includes
It does include an actor who plays the same character in both movies, if we're going to be technical.
Technically. So yeah, Silence of the Lambs. I had this at 5, and again, I saw this one very early in my life. This was a formative film for me. This came out, I was like 4 or 5 years old, I think, and I don't remember how old I was. I had to have seen this when I was like 9, probably. And fuck, there are so many scenes of this movie that just rocked my world. And like, you can do that in a movie. I mean, there's so many things that, I mean, I could just spend like 10 minutes talking about each of these things. Like, we've all heard the whole Anthony Hopkins wins and he was on screen for 12 or 18 minutes or whatever it was, and hardly in the movie at all. And yes, absolutely deserved. There's
no one who did better that year.
In his performance, you can watch his facial mannerisms and just give it to Anthony Hopkinson's face for that year, and he would have deserved it. I mean, the opening shot, when you are seeing her go by all of the cells and he is face first right up against those bars and the camera itself moves in, it is one of the most terrifying introductions to a character ever because of how it catches you off guard. It is impeccable filmmaking. This movie is so crazy because you could make like the argument of, we're just trying to see that, a female can be an FBI agent and she pull it off. No, she's fucking brilliant, and yet she's also terrified, and yet she's also on edge and has something to prove. And this nuanced character is facing this other nuanced character. And the funny thing, those aren't even the serial killers. Like, we're not hardly talking about the fact that we've got Buffalo fucking Bill being a psycho.
Ed Levine, who's fantastic.
He is amazing in this and has some of the most iconic lines and images in this movie. And the way that we approach Silence of the Lambs is blown away because of the performances of the two leads. And I mean, all the faces that you get in this, the entire franchise that this spawns, that a lot of people hate, that I don't love every single one of the sequels, but I like all of them. Even the weird incest storyline of the prequel and all that. Like, this franchise is crazy.
And everyone should watch the Hannibal TV show. If you have not seen it, watch it. It's fantastic.
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Literally. And weird to say about a cannibal movie, but yes.
Yeah, and I mean that Silence of the Lambs I've always said has one of the most terrifying scenes is the night vision scene, which I still think holds up so incredibly well. And it's done so well. I don't think anyone ever does night vision scenes in horror movies. They're like, it's not going to hold up. It's fine.
Yeah,
We'll just do something else.
It is perfect here. Absolutely incredible. And then, of course, the fake out with that leads to the night vision scene is incredible. And the crazy thing is watching it now, like, I don't know that it holds up necessarily as a fake out because you can kind of forecast it coming the way that it leads up to it.
Yeah.
But the dread that comes from the fact that like 3 scenes, or not 3 scenes, but 3 shots before you actually see, oh, she's at the wrong house, you can feel it. And so like for me watching it now, I can feel still like my heart start racing a little bit because you're like, fuck, like she is actually in trouble and has no idea.
And I think Silence of the Lambs, I've used this as an example before, but I think it shows the power of like how cinema can adapt books. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever read Harris's books. They are trashy little pulp novels. They're great ideas. They're not that well written, but they're cool. And it's kind of like The Godfather, where you have these pulpy little books that are just Puzo's a stronger writer, but not that much stronger. But you take a director who has a vision and says, look, this is some really good stuff in here. Let's just tweak it and make it something special. Let's take it seriously instead of making it a pulp kind of crime thing. And it pays off in dividends because of that.
And that's literally the funniest thing about this movie, because if you take, I don't know, there's probably like 8 or 9 different scenes or plot devices that they use in this film that if you just showed somebody like the script for that day, you'd think, oh, this is gonna be super fucking goofy. But this works because nothing about it is goofy. Like a guy in a wheelchair on fire is one of the most shocking images. A guy hiding his genitals between his legs and making a pose is like a weirdly creepy, like, what the fuck is happening? And there's like 5 or 6 more of those. It is such an incredible movie. This I had it at 5, which is crazy. It's just that the other 4 above this are, I don't know, they stick with me a little more. And again, Silence of the Lambs led to this, that led to these other ones. It's like Silence of the Lambs ran so that these could run at full speed, I guess. I don't know. It's just it's great, but it's just slightly lower on my list.
Well, now I want to know what your number 3 is.
My number 3, so I mentioned that I Saw the Devil is my first Korean movie. Number 3 is my next Korean movie, and that is The Chaser. Not the one you expected.
Oh, it was not the one I expected.
The Chaser is a movie that I saw for the first time about 2 years ago and fell absolutely in love with. So The Chaser is a crazy fucking movie that is based around a guy that is running like a brothel for call girls, essentially, and he sends somebody out and she goes missing. He has no idea where she is, and he has to go investigate because he's losing one of his assets. And in the process, discovers that the person that sort of disappeared her is literally a serial killer. And this is happening to all kinds of stuff. And he ends up chasing this person many, many times throughout this movie. There's a lot of chasing, hence the title, The Chaser. This movie's from 2008, is sort of like the granddad to I Saw the Devil. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this that you could see went, oh, okay, we need to dial it up for I Saw the Devil. But this movie is intense. There's so many choices made in this movie that if it wasn't a Korean film, they never would have taken those steps, very much like I Saw the Devil. And I'm so glad that they did. Specifically, there's one scene near the end that there is a convenience store setting, and you're just, if you're expecting like a typical Hollywood horror or very, I don't know, like downbeat, depressing serial killer movie, you would know, hey, they're going to come in. The ending is going to be right here. They're about to get caught. And no, this fucking movie goes, no, oh, you thought this was the ending? Nope. You still got like 20 minutes left. We're going to insert something here that's intense and you're not going to be ready for it. But the actual serial killer storyline is a part that, at least for me, I downplay when I think about this movie quite a bit, but it is scary as hell. Like, this guy has a very secure house, but it's like I don't know. It is a full house, but everything is locked around it. He's got lots of different ways to keep people out of it. And it's terrifying to see what he does in this house. There are set pieces here where it comes to like burying people in the yard that is terrifying visually. This movie is a masterpiece. I love this movie. Literally one of my favorite films of all time now. I think this is incredible. For those that have not seen The Chaser, because it's been a little difficult to see, region-free disc from Umbrella a couple years ago, masterpiece. Go check it out. The standard is very cheap. Absolutely worth watching.
I was hoping to be able to get to this one this week because I had it on my watch list. I was like, if I have time, I'd like to get to it. That was one of them. And now I really wish I didn't get to it.
Well, now you got 2 to watch this weekend.
Yeah, I do. All right. So what are we at? Number 2, right?
Number 2.
All right. It's going to be Zodiac.
My number 2 is Zodiac.
Hey, we got 2 identical. Okay. So to me, Zodiac is simply the best movie ever made and how it discusses true crime fascination, like especially serial killer fascination. It's more about that than it is about the Zodiac killer.
Yep.
The way, and I think it's great that Fincher did it because Fincher has done like so much with serial killer media. Mindhunters, he did Seven, of course, and he's doing this. He's really almost critiquing his own fascination with serial killers and how easy it is to get obsessed and what kind of dark place that can kind of put you in and how you treat them and how you don't even treat a serial killer who's currently killing people like a real person. You almost treat them like a character.
Yep.
And you lose sight of what's important. I just think the way Fincher did that, it's the best. I still think it'll probably be the best movie he's ever makes in his career. It's brilliant. The amount of detail that goes into that movie is just brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that this gets right that a lot of these other ones don't is the like mental illness aspect of this, because the serial killer is doing so much to toy with the cops and have this like very manic personality that comes out in everything except for the way that he kills. And that's where we get these terrifying scenes. I mean, there's already like 4 comments in the chat about this, but the lake scene specifically, the fact that he is just so matter of fact and walks up and just, all right, see ya, is excruciatingly terrifying. It is one of the most helpless scenes that I think I've ever seen, other than like, I don't know, the end of The Strangers where they said, "'Cause you were home." Yeah. There's so much in the nuance of how they have his character move literally in that scene is just, it's a Wednesday and this is my plans to walk up and shoot you. And it's all so visceral and intense. And knowing that an entire, like, not just a community, but like an entire half of one of the largest states in the United States was swept up in the fear of this at the time, is captured so fucking perfectly that this movie is like, it is the definition of what this genre should be. And it's going to be weird saying that that's number 2 because it's that exactly. But man, this movie is perfection.
Yeah, and I think and this has been talked about to death, so I won't belabor the point. But I do think the brilliance of he would only show things that had an eyewitness account. Like he doesn't show the first murders because there were no living eyewitnesses. And every time he goes to cast whoever's going to play Zodiac, it matches the description they gave. It wasn't about keeping the same, because I mean, at the end of the day, the movie admits we don't know who he is, but it was about getting closure. Like you go into Zodiac, Alan was not the Zodiac killer, more than likely.
Yep.
Are we really upset because the dude was a pedophile? No, we're not upset to call him a Zodiac killer. So whatever. If it gives you closure, it gives you closure. That's what the film's about. Just saying, look, I've spent enough time trying to understand this, and there are just more important things. And I think that is just, there's a brilliance to it. And all the murders happen really within the first hour of the film, and the last hour and a half of it is just kind of exploring, Jake Gyllenhaal's character, who isn't the easiest person to be around. I always remember the great Grace Smith, the real person, watching it and talking about he kind of understood why his wife left him. watching the film, and it's like that's such a sad sentence. And that I think it really captures how well Fincher did to try to be real to what Graysmith believed, and
Right.
Gyllenhaal's great in it.
Yeah. I guess we probably should mention that the entire cast here is really good, and the fact that so many of them go on to
MCU.
do so many MCU films is so weird to watch in 2025. But I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, Robert Downey Jr., obviously, but then throw in Elias Koteas, Anthony Edwards, John Carroll Lynch is creepy as fuck in this, Chloe Sevigny is in this, Brian Cox, of course. Philip Baker Hall is always incredible. He's just amazing in this. God, Zodiac has been discussed to death, but this movie is absolutely a masterpiece.
Well, you talk about like that because you were home being so creepy. I always think about not many people have basements in California. I do. And I just think that is so chilling every time I hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, good solid pick. I'm glad that we had two in the exact same spot.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're number one, sir. I think by deduction we can probably guess what it is, but what is your number one?
What do you think my number one is?
I have a feeling it's Memories of Murder.
No, that I had to skip that one because you said it was. You said it was. That's my number 5.
Oh, it's lower. That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Right.
That's all we had to skip that one. Nope. My number one is. Here's the one that's gonna piss people off. Longlegs.
Oh, Zach. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yep.
I forgot that you loved this one.
I do,
and I do mean love. Like,
yes,
this is incredible. Yep.
So, Longlegs it takes a lot of inspiration from a lot of the things we talked about.
Yep.
And I think there's an interesting connection. So this was made by Osgood Perkins, whose father is Anthony Perkins. So the thing I always find fascinating about this is it's taken a lot of inspiration, of course, from Silence of the Lambs, which is based off Ed Gein. Ed Gein also inspired Psycho. So there's a nice little familial thing going on here that I think is great. I think Longlegs captures the reason I mentioned earlier with Cure is because I think it does a lot of the things Cure does. I think there is a credible amount of detail in this film. I think the amount of mystery that just stays pervasive throughout. And I know a lot of people complain about there being so much that's talked about. I can already see a lot of comments going, so that's great. I think, a lot of people complain about the exposition at the end. And while I think that's a valid criticism, I also think it's a little overstated because there's still so much mystery to this film. I mean, one of the things I think is fascinating is every murder has like a little red piano in it, and they don't ever highlight that. They do highlight it a little bit in like the alternate reality game they made for it, but as far as the text of the film, there's all these little things. They have like all these details in the background, and I think it's so incredibly rewatchable. I think there is just so much good going on. I think Perkins took a lot of what he did with like Blackcoat's Daughter and made something very transcendent in this type of genre, and played around a lot in the playground of Silence of the Lambs and other things, but also just got weird with it, and I love that, and I really appreciate it.
This is a good movie. I don't love this movie. I'm one of those that did not hate or did not love the exposition at the end because I wanted just a little more mystery to it. I wanted it to be a little less supernatural feeling. But I will say, on your list, especially tonight, I really, really appreciate the performance of our main detective here. I think that Micah is incredible. I think that the methodical way that we see her approach things, especially in that first act, is exactly what I want from one of these movies. The other thing that does not get enough love from this, the fact that Kiernan Shipka is in this for such a short scene, or 2 scenes, I guess.
Yeah.
And she is fan-fucking-tastic in this movie. She got, I think I applauded her last year for being in 2 movies for like 4 minutes total.
Twisters.
Yeah, she was great in both. But yeah, she was fantastic in this. I think Nicolas Cage put on an incredible performance. I absolutely love this. Yeah, it's a good movie. I definitely need to rewatch it now that I have a disc for it for sure.
Yeah, and it's the thing that's what we were talking about Monroe. I think that was like such a great decision by Perkins. Was Cage is going to go big. That's just who he is as an actor. That's what he enjoys doing, and he's really good at it. You write Monroe the complete opposite way. And I think that is such a great way to go about it. Some people will complain her character's boring. I think her character is incredibly interesting. It's just reserved. Like she's not going to give you a lot, so you have to work with what she gives you, like as a character. And I think that's awesome because Cage is putting all of his cards on the table. Like every bit of it is on the table.
Yeah. Corinna's saying, wow, so much love for Longlegs. Thought it was awful. Loved Black Coats, though. I will say Black Coats is still my favorite from him.
Black Coats is brilliant. Brilliant. I actually think they're good, like, spiritual sequels to one another without getting too much into, like, spoilers or anything. I feel like they match each other well.
And then Jason says, I'm glad he went more supernatural at the end, added more to it rather than just a Silence of the Lambs nod. And I don't know. I appreciate that more. And actually, I'm in my number one. I'm about to talk about that in just a second because that's what jazzes me up on those movies. So that's just a personal preference thing. Is I really like the methodical detective aspect of these.
Yeah, and I will give credit because I think I would have hated the supernatural element if it's not at the very beginning. Where they kind of test her psychic abilities and they just are honest, like. They kind of joke about it, like, well, so what? She's like, I only scored 50%. It's like, so you're only 50% psychic. That's okay. And I like that. I like that. It's like, look, this is the reality of the film. And I also really like one of my favorite elements I love to talk about with this film is there's a joke. There's kind of a gag in the film where they never tell you what year it is, like in each scene. So everyone just has like pictures of presidents. Like when they do a flashback, there's the picture of Richard Nixon. It's like, okay, that's awesome.
Before I say mine, which everybody knows what it is now, but Mozart's Ghost says not a movie, but the first season of True Detective was amazing. Honestly, I think that is the best answer for this, but it just wasn't a movie. It you will love it.
I know I will. I just struggle with TV. I struggle so much.
I get it. It's an investment of time for sure. Yeah. Although so is watching every Lars von Trier movie over 2 months or whatever it was.
That was I don't know if that investment was worth it, but it happened.
I'm
the opposite. People always talk about like, oh, I would never watch a 10-hour movie, but if they cut it up into 1-hour episodes, I would binge it in a row. I'm the opposite. If you tell me a movie is 10 episodes long, just say it's a 10-hour movie. I'll make time. I'll do it. I'll just watch it at one time. I'm the opposite on that.
Yeah, I get that. All right, so my number one, everybody knows what it is if you've been paying attention so far. Zach had it back at number 5, and that is 2003's Memories of Murder by Bong Joon-ho. I just mentioned it, so I will go into this for just a second, but the main thing that makes this win for me is I love the detective and cop angle behind these movies. The classic, almost like buddy cop, we're going to be bumbling our way through this setup that Bong Joon-ho does here is so great. And Song Kang-ho is like one of the greatest actors of all time, literally. And so his performance in this that goes from, breakthrough to hilarious mistake to discovering something in the most like asinine of ways in a couple scenes, making mistakes in the actual murder scenes a couple times. This movie just sort of has everything. And the main reason I have it number 1 here is because I feel like it's perhaps only like comparatively to Zodiac. I feel like it is the most well-rounded of these films. It sort of gets every angle. You go through the serial killer aspect, you go through every aspect of the detective side, you go through kind of like every single emotion as you're watching this, because it does have comedic beats. It's got really drab moments. It is like 2 cops that are going through it, chasing this notorious rapist and murderer, and everything about this based around what is essentially like a true crime story in the darkest of ways, is shot so beautifully by a master at what he does. I don't know. This movie just ticked every single box for me. And I think on my list, this is really the only one that does that. I think Zodiac is I think that my top 5 are like all perfect films. There's just a couple things that in each I'm like, oh, I wonder what they could do for this or whatever. I feel like Memories of Murder is the exact literally every single scene is exactly what you should have done. And I'm so glad you just submitted this and said that's it and call it a day. This movie is shot beautifully. I don't know if I said that already. Literally, like the landscapes in this movie are even exactly the sort of thing where you could go, man, that looks cozy, and then remember, yeah, somebody's dead right there. Why am I thinking this looks amazing? Love this movie. Love like the weather in this movie. But Song Kang-ho is the champion of this film. He is incredible in every scene. You had it at number 5. Tell us about Memories of Murder.
Yeah, so I'm just going to agree with literally everything you just said because it is a phenomenal film. Parasite deserves all the love it's got. I'm not going to take that away from it. This is still, to me, Bong's best film.
Yep.
I think he created something truly fantastic. And it's another thing, just kind of like Zodiac, where it's being very mindful. Of course, this is based on a real murder, a series of murders. And so famously, the whole plot of, I want to look the killer in the eye and know it's him. It's very much something as Zodiac as well. Yep. This one, he does such a good job of ending on that I think it's very powerful. And thankfully now that person has been caught and they're in prison. That's all great news. But that's such a powerful way to end the film and be mindful of, yeah, this is entertaining. You got there's some entertaining elements, the bumbling cop thing is funny in its own right. It's got a bit of levity that you're not going to get much in Zodiac besides maybe like 2 short scenes in a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
But he never plays it for what needs to be played for laugh. He never crosses that line.
Yeah.
When he needs to take it seriously, he takes it seriously.
Absolutely.
And yeah, just brilliant film.
And I agree on Parasite, by the way. I think it's amazing. I have it as like my 3rd favorite Bong movie. I love the host in ways that most people don't. I think that movie is absolutely astonishing. The only thing holding that one back is really shitty CGI, but the rest of the movie is very, very good. I love the host.
And I still need to see Mother, which I have a feeling I'll rank highly. I just haven't seen it yet. I own it too. It's on my fucking shelf. I just need to watch it.
All right, honorable mentions. What was so close to making your list?
We mentioned a lot of them. So 7 was close. I think I had it at like 12 or 13 probably. One I want to shout out that I don't have it like rated nearly as high as these, but I still think it's worth checking out just because it's so unique, is a film called Limbo. It is a Asian film. I want to say it's a black and white film. It looks very chromatic, where they're basically finding bodies in like dumpsters essentially in this really trashed out area of the city. And really good movie. I wish I liked it more than it did, but I found this movie randomly at McKay's like a couple months ago and ended up watching. Really enjoyed it. So I really want to highlight that one just because I think it's a very unique take on it, and I think people would enjoy it.
I've got that on my shelf and I've been dying to watch it. I need to.
Did you get the same one? I forgot who put that out. It was a weird company.
It's a 4K media book, and I think it might be Cape Light.
That might be, I think you might be right, because I think that's the one I found at McKay's.
And it was super cheap for a really good 4K. So
yeah.
Let me see. I think it's Cape Light. Any others that you wanted to shout out?
I think that covers it, because I think some of the other ones that I didn't list I had on there as well.
Yeah, it was Cape Light that put it out. That's funny because we were just talking about them. So my number 11, we mentioned it a couple times, was Manhunter. I screwed up earlier and said the flaming wheelchair was in Silence.
I didn't want to correct you, but I was going to leave it.
Yeah, it's from Manhunter. I would just confuse myself, and Sibner already texted me to correct me. Thanks, Sib. I love Manhunter. I think it's the stylish, scrappy younger brother of Silence of the Lambs that wishes it could be Silence of the Lambs, but never could be. It's also great. It just didn't deserve to be top 10 for me.
Yeah, the thing with the Hannibal Lecter movies, it's fascinating the directors they get to it, because then you get Ridley, who makes a completely different movie. He's like, I'm going to make a pulpy, slocky thing, and it's like, sure, that's awesome too, man. Like, it's just kind of a weird follow-up to Silence of the Lambs, but go for it.
I like it.
Oh, I do too. It's fun.
Number 12, I mentioned earlier, was Mr. Brooks. I love that movie. I've championed that movie for a decade plus. It's so good. Number 13, you mentioned this earlier, and we haven't really talked about it, but The Stepfather is actually brilliant, and he is such an intimidating character in that movie.
And yeah, I mean, it's that it almost sounds like it'd be corny. I think we talked about that with another film where this could almost be corny if you're not careful. But
Yep.
that switch to "Who am I here?" He sells that with such conviction.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's so good. And that's one of those movies. Stepfather was one where I was like, if you needed that Venn diagram of slasher and serial killer movie, that might be it. That might be that sliver of overlap is Stepfather.
Yeah, that's pretty damn close. I would agree there. And then number 14, this is the only other one I wrote down, and it's because this is so totally different than everything else I chose. I think I saw at least one person mention it earlier. I have to throw out Serial Mom. John Waters is a master of his craft, and this is just such a fun movie. And I liked this for a long time, but watching Serial Mom on the big screen changed everything. I liked this movie so much more after that. This was like an immediate, oh my God, I will appreciate this for the rest of my life now, because something just seeing it like enrapture you is such a different experience. Yeah, Serial Mom is brilliant. John Waters is, I don't know, he's such a unique voice in this discussion tonight that it's kind of hard to discuss in discussion with everything else we just said.
Yeah, especially because like everything else we talked about so heavy. Even American Psycho, which Mozart just mentioned, has its own weird heaviness to it, even though it's funnier than the rest of everything else we named.
Yep.
So yeah, Serial Mom kind of stands out in that way.
Oh, look at that. Serial Mom's been a long fave of Philip, and Stan's excited about Serial Mom. Yeah, it's great. For those that have not seen Serial Mom ever or in a long time, go give it a watch. That's one of the John Waters movies that is like oddly timeless. I know a lot of people don't love some of the earlier ones that are a little shaggy.
This one's accessible. It is an accessible movie.
Will be accessible forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's such, I don't know, it's such a audacious, understated, weird movie in his filmography when you compare it to everything else. It's so good. Serial Mom is a blast.
And nobody gets raped by a lobster, so don't worry. Does not happen.
Oh, thanks for the disclaimer.
Yeah.
Zach, tell everybody where they can find you and what's coming up for They Live by Film next after this Mission Impossible opus.
So we are back to our normal rotation. Chris is going to be taking us through some Charles Bronson movies. So that's going to be our next one. We're not doing Death Wish. We're doing another movie by the guy who made the first Death Wish. I wish I wrote them down. I probably should have, because I got to watch these.
Yep.
But yeah, we got 3 of those coming up. So some 70s Bronson, which I know Ryan will be thrilled about. And then we'll probably be back on a regular rotation for a little while. So normal is normal. I don't think we have any interviews set up. If we do, I think Chris is working on that. You can find me if you want to see random slasher lists I make. You can find me at Dharma Bombs over at Letterboxd. Find a bunch of other lists. I'm obsessed with lists, so you can just go in there and find some. I recently did my top 250. You can see how bad my tastes are. Just scroll on through that.
I was about to say on the interviews, I have not seen anything from Chris for a while, I thought, and I went and looked. The last one was Frank in February. That's so long ago.
Yeah, he has been traveling a lot for his work, so I know that's kind of slow. Yeah, I think he's in Bali. Or he's going to Bali. Like, so he's on the road all the time. Like, he asked me the other day. He's like, "Hey, do you think we could just record Friday?" And I'm like, "I haven't even started these movies, man." I was like, "When do you leave?" He's like, "The 18th." I was like, "That's gonna be kind of hard."
Yeah, Chris is a wild man. I've been trying to get a hold of Chris for some time, and I think just today or yesterday he finally responded to something. It was nice. I got to record with him last week, which was great. We got a new Mondo Macabro episode coming out on the Wild Side. Check out that podcast. Awesome. Should be out tomorrow or Monday. We talked about Bali for a moment, actually. Kind of funny.
I will shout out that I am doing semi-regular episodes. Westerns with Hunter. So we are going through all the Clint Eastwood movies. We're doing Two Mules for Sister Sarah. I should be recording that next month. So whenever Hunter gets that out in January of 2027, you should be able to listen to that. But no, seriously, listen to that podcast. Chris is actually going to be on there. I think he's doing some acid westerns with him. So,
Ooh.
absolutely, yeah. I think he's doing El Topo and then some movie I've never heard of. I was like, those sound like Chris answers. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So look out for those. Great podcast anyway. If you want to like get into American westerns, I don't know of a better resource you can get into right now. So
The name of that podcast, by the way, Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. He's had great guests. They've covered some great films, and then I was on an episode, and I'm an idiot, so skip that one.
No, I'm sure it was a great episode. Don't be like that.
Other than that, if you want to have discussions like this, we would love to have you join us in the Discord. Check out the Patreon link in the description below. I've got more interviews coming up on the channel. I've had, I think, 3 recorded that I need to edit and put up. I've got a couple more scheduled. One coming up, I'll just reveal now. The next one, I finally got the guy behind Petroglyph Media, who did the double feature of the films from Latin America that are great. In fact, I did this interview like 2.5 weeks ago, and it's still right here. This is the release, and it's upside down. Funeral Siniestro, and this one, which I never remember the title of this. It is Triangulo de Oro, Gold Triangle. Really solid release. We go into his history and creating a boutique label out of nowhere. And I'm stoked with that. It'll be a nice companion piece to the Trash Mex podcast, who did a great interview with him. So check that out. Should be up on Monday, I believe. And then my interview after that, I still can't believe I hinted at this in the Discord, but I got to interview a legend of horror that I have watched for decades. And I'm still mystified that we made this happen. That should be coming out the following Monday or the Monday after that. It is an incredible conversation, and can't wait for the world to see it, because I can't believe that name is going to be on my channel. You guys are amazing. Thanks for hanging out all night. This has been a long 3.5-hour conversation about depressing things, and to keep hanging out and chatting is amazing. You guys are perfect. We'll see you next Thursday for a first-time guest again on Reconnected. So we'll see you then. Have a good week. Be safe.
See ya.
Thank you for watching The Disconnected. On the way out, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you've liked the video, and that you've copied the link to be able to share with someone else that may appreciate this.